rifle in his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, everybody up in Battle Creek, Michigan, everybody down south in Argentina. I'm going to go to Argentina this morning. And in the middle of the ocean in Honolulu, Hawaii, good morning. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground. Along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, the Princess of Pushing Me Around, Danielle Alexandria, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you well?
I'm doing well.
You sure?
I'm pretty little. I don't know how much I can push you around.
You'd be surprised. Pound for pound, pretty big. Pretty big pound for pound.
She's mighty verbally.
Yes. Also in the studio with me is the king of the carnies for the next 14 days. The district leader of disaster. I couldn't figure out the other one, by the way.
The Prime Minister of the Sinister.
Oh, yeah, the Prime Minister of the Sinister. Greg Bowen, good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Spectacular. How you doing?
Trying to fix that mic up?
I am trying to fix this mic. I'm glad it works. Now I just need to get it stable.
Just get... you're asking for it to be stable. You're asking for it to work.
That's because Alex used that one and he moved it.
Oh, that explains it. That's why it was shorter.
Wow.
Although I have to say,
what? Wait. We're not going down this road.
The kids were here over the weekend. All the kids played in the studio for a while, so everything was moved. He actually didn't know he was changing your mic. He thought he was changing his own. But everything got moved around, and I've been cleaning out toys for a week.
Yep. Nice. Hopefully everybody's doing well.
If you'd like to call the program, the Refresh Telecom studio line is 1-800-525-4032. That's 1-800-525-4032.
Refresh Telecom. They won't give your information to the feds without a warrant.
And that's all you need to know.
And that's all you need to know. Well, that and it works.
And the service works well, or else we wouldn't use it.
Yeah. So it works, and they won't give you information.
Although I have to say, it would be kind of a cool trick if we were call into the show, but then be haha, it won't work.
Wait, we've done that, but it was all our fault. It was not theirs.
It was not theirs. It was our fault. It's because we don't always know how to use all the buttons and knobs and everything.
The buttons, the knobs, the levers, the switches. All right, hopefully everybody's doing well. Let's get right into the first story, though, Danielle. What do you got for us today?
Well, actually, a couple weeks ago, we did a whole first hour on the idiots that run the country. And I thought that was a very fun hour to do. But this week, since we did spend a couple days in Tallahassee, I thought we would do the idiots that are in our state.
All right. Morons in Florida talk today. Here we go.
Well, and we were in Tallahassee. We stayed at the Florida Can house and met with some legislators. Not many, just went into a few offices. There's some really, really exciting things going on with marijuana legislation and decriminalization and things like that. There's a lot of kind of changing attitudes towards marijuana reform and actually kind of taking away some of the regulations. So that was kind of nice to see, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It was nice to see. I'm not going to say that it wasn't. It definitely was. Anytime I'm in Tallahassee is never necessarily good, considering the amount of disdain I have for those that are up there in Tallahassee. However, I did get another version for the land bridge that I don't like, but someone else likes. And I think I've come to a good realization here. We should keep the land bridge for the citizens. And if you're an elected official, you shouldn't be allowed to use it.
Maybe just make them pay a toll.
Oh, could we make politicians pay a toll?
Actually, I got a better idea.
Okay.
This is what we do here is if they want to use the land bridge, they can. But that's where citizens can actually stand there and make it like a gauntlet for politicians. You know, and if you haven't been in the military, you wouldn't know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe
I haven't been in the military, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, do you? Okay, you do. Okay, because there used to be like whenever you get promoted, you used to have to run a gauntlet. Like whenever you would get promoted, and they would hit they wouldn't put the backings on the pins, and they would hit it where your pins were. So the reason that they did that was this, and then what they said was actually the reason that they did is because they wanted to hit you, but
because they were jerks.
What they said was that make sure that the rank stayed on and that didn't fall off. Kind of symbolic in that aspect. I think what we could do is we should be able to knee the politicians in the leg as they're going through each time.
Can we also do that to lobbyists?
See, that's a tough call because they're citizens too. If they're up there lobbying specifically, then we can.
Okay.
I'll go with that.
And, I don't like that lobbyists don't wear, like, badges or something that says I'm a lobbyist or, like, that has some kind of, like... I don't like that.
What do you want to mark them?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Maybe the lobbyists have to use an all-paper handrail as they cross the bridge, so they just get 1,000 paper cuts as they...
Or they make a separate rope bridge.
Oh, there you go.
Could we make them, like, what is the with the string that you're just...
Oh, a zip line?
A zip line.
Yeah.
No, zip line would be too much fun.
That would be too much fun?
No, that would
just be
fun.
going back and forth all day.
Yeah.
They don't get enough done now.
Even though
Wait a minute.
Hold on, if the lobbyists have to do that, then that's not about it.
If we got them to just go back and forth on it all day, maybe they'd never get to vote and no new laws would pass.
Or maybe we change the end destination after they get on and just like switch it over to the other side of town or something.
That would be funny.
Have it on like a crane as soon as they get on.
Oh, you're on somewhere else.
No, it was...
You're going down Tennessee Street.
Take them to the dump.
You wouldn't want to do that to the garbage.
Okay, the prison.
I'm better with the prison.
It was, I think it was a productive trip. We got to meet with our rep again, and I always like meeting with Amanda Murphy. Kind of find out what's going on from her perspective up there. It's kind of it's really interesting to see someone who's brand new up there and kind of how things are going from her perspective. Because she's kind of learning the ropes at the same time as getting all this, getting the things that, a lot of times we don't see, a lot of the meetings and stuff that we don't see, and just kind of seeing, like, from her perspective, kind of as she takes it all in. It's always an interesting conversation with her. And I always appreciate her honesty with everything and stuff. We don't agree with her on everything, but, we can always be able to sit down and have a nice conversation with her and kind of, see where she's coming from on issues and she listens to where we're coming from on issues. So that's always nice. So it was nice meeting with her while we were up there. And to see kind of some of the people that are changing their attitudes towards, marijuana, medical cannabis, things like that. I was really, I want to see them all go. Don't mistake anything. I want to see every one of them replaced. But it was nice to see on that issue minds changing, even though it's all for their own political gain. It was nice to see.
Yeah, I'll go with that. You're right. It is just for their political gain. We did get to see there's a video that Florida Can had put out that has
Matt
Gaetz in it, going and pitched a really good case for.
It's a very low THC strain of cannabis that helps epileptic children.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Again, it's the signs are pointing in a good direction. Mm-hmm. If they'll continue to do that is still something that we don't know yet, but it is something that we'll see happen though.
Yeah, and it's nice to go. Like, we go to Tallahassee for a lot of other reasons. Pot's a good reason. Like, I want to go to Tallahassee more and just talk about pot for 2 days.
That'll pretty much get me to go anywhere.
Yeah, I guess.
That's always a good reason to get me to travel.
Yeah. All right, we'll go with that.
So that was our trip to Tallahassee. It was a really nice time. Jody was most gracious letting us stay in the Florida Can House, and kind of going over what she's doing up there. She's doing an amazing job, and I was more than excited to be up there and spend some time with her and see where things are going with cannabis policy in Tallahassee. And hopefully we can get some stuff done before the ballot initiative makes it to the ballot. I'd love to see that and make that just an obsolete ballot initiative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But while we were up there, I look at the news in the morning and I see Charlie Crist is in the news. And he's not in the news for the normal apology tour, which is what we generally see when Charlie Crist makes it in the news. I'm sorry, I was always wrong, except maybe on some things, maybe I wasn't wrong, or maybe I've changed my mind, I'm not really sure. I really just got here in this party.
Oh my God.
This was a little different in the news. It seems that Charlie Crist may have been involved in some favors for judicial appointments while he was the governor of Florida.
Say it ain't so. Unbelievable. You're lying.
No, actually, what happened is a Fort Lauderdale person, Scott Rothstein, was arrested for running a Ponzi scheme. And because he got busted, he decided to sing like a canary on Charlie Crist, because when he was the governor, he actually appointed Rothstein to the, it's basically the committee that would make, recommendations for judicial appointments. Mm-hmm. And what he said was, my job was to be the governor's voice on the commission. But as he was a friend and a business associate, they gave favor to any judge who would be giving favor to the law firm that they both were involved in.
So this was pay to play.
Oh yeah, this was definitely pay to play. Now the gentleman who's basically telling all this, he was actually indicted for running a $1.4 billion Ponzi scheme. He's basically serving a 50-year federal prison sentence, and he's basically saying that there was a very high quid pro quo that Crist had for judicial appointments. So there were certain campaign contributions, or if they were going to be favorable to legislation that Charlie Crist wanted to push, or law firms that were giving him large campaign contributions, then they would get appointed as the judge when there was an opening.
Wow.
I mean, you knew. Look,
None of it surprises me.
it doesn't surprise you.
It just makes me more mad. It makes me more mad because people like us assume that stuff is going on all the time, and then when we see the evidence of it, we're like, I told you!
Yeah.
I told you!
Yeah, exactly.
I always wonder how people go like, oh, those crazy libertarians, they're always just thinking everybody's corrupt. Like, everybody's corrupt.
Because you are. Yeah, look, not every politician is corrupt.
No.
Only like 95% of them.
Right.
And all we have to do, and again, it's not like you didn't know Charlie Crist wasn't corrupt before. It's not like you didn't know this, because look, they kept quiet when it came to the Greer thing.
Yeah.
And you knew Greer was all kinds of messed up. And do you think he was just, I'm so surprised that Jim Greer was doing this? Like, you guys told him what to do and then made him the fall guy when it all went south.
Jim Greer actually stated in a lot of testimony before they actually could, before they could convict him, when there wasn't enough evidence, he basically said, I was Charlie Crist's right-hand man. We had a very close relationship. I did everything that I could to ensure, I produced the best results for Charlie Crist.
Yeah.
Now Charlie Crist was like, I didn't know that guy was doing all that bad stuff. Like, are you kidding? He was your right-hand man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did know all that stuff. That's the problem. And the sad part, and this is the sad part about the whole thing, the Democrats knew that this guy was this corrupt. You guys knew it. It's not like you didn't know. You did know. When you allow him to be your nominee, or when you basically cut everybody else out and are forcing the Democrats to have this guy as your nominee, the problem there is that you knew he was corrupt. So that means if you're willing to accept him, you're corrupt too.
Right.
There's no getting around that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's, and we talked about Rick Scott. I think that was last week.
Yeah, who's corrupt?
We talked about Rick Scott, who, anyone who gives large campaign contributions to the It's Working PAC seems to get a very large state contract that had no bid, and it's, $1 billion or $100 million.
Yeah, next thing you know, trees are getting planted around the state.
Right. Because every highway needs palm trees because that makes cars drive better.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't worry about the road part. If you just stick a tree on the right and the left-hand side of the road, that automatically just makes it go better. You know why it is because of the acidic nature of the palm tree affecting the road. Look, these are just things that you guys are just not nearly smart enough to understand. So it is the acidic nature between the two that allow for better road conditions when you have said palm tree next to the... I can't even make it up. You guys suck!
That sounds so scientific. I'm sure the Republicans are behind it immediately.
It was peer-reviewed from an FDA study. Double-blind, peer-review, FDA study.
With placebo.
Yeah, with placebo. There were some roads that had fake trees on it just to see if it would work.
I get so upset because, if anyone knows the roads in Florida, it's people who travel the state up and down all the time. So, when you go from Miami to Tallahassee on a regular basis, you get so angered by the poor construction of our roads and the fact that in some big cities like Miami, every road is under construction and has been for a decade.
Yeah.
And they're getting nowhere.
They talk about these, we need some new infrastructure projects. Hey, where? You guys are working on every road now.
And unfortunately, the private contractors that do this work know the game, and they manipulate the game.
Right.
And if you know any of them, they'll tell you what the game is. That's why these roads are under construction and blocked off for years, even though the actual project only takes 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Because what they do is the contractors bid on these jobs, and then they have to actually start the job before the government will pay them. The contractors don't have the money to start the job, so they have to block off the roads.
So
according to the government, that's starting the project. So then the road is blocked off for 6 months while they finish everything else they're doing, and then they finally come and work on the road after they get the check from the government.
It is a systemic problem.
Yep.
The way that the road construction is done is very much a systemic problem. And the government has actually caused like who's going to mess up the plan to build the roads? The government will.
Yeah.
And they do a very, very good job of screwing the whole thing up.
Roads that make no sense.
And sidewalks that make no sense.
I have never seen, until I moved to Florida, I have never seen 2 one-way roads end facing each other.
I have seen it many times in Florida.
I have seen it many times in Florida. I have seen it nowhere else. That is the dumbest thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, but the people that did that got paid.
Oh, of course they did.
We drive around the state, and even when we're in a city, we tend to be on almost every road in the whole city because we're going from place to place. And there's roads that don't make sense. You're traveling down it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a one-way, so you have to get off for like 3 blocks and then get back on because then all of a sudden it's not a one-way. So for 3 blocks it was a one-way street. Like, who thinks of these things?
Yeah. And there are some things I can understand. I mean, the windiness and the way some of the roads are arranged.
To do that.
You're building around a swamp. So I can forgive some of the windiness and the wonkiness to the design of where the roads are. But the things like that, the heading off one ways, making it one way for a few blocks and then going back to there are just some very poor civil engineering decisions across the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is these. You're not looking on the merit of the contractor or what happens and most of the time it's not the contractor, it's the engineer that planned the road, that planned it so dumb. And these guys are getting billions of dollars. And basically, listen, it's just like when you break the dishes so you don't have to do the dishes anymore. Mm-hmm. Listen, if you want job security, mess up the road so everybody complains this. You have to go and redo it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You want to know why the same road is under construction 18 times in 10 years? Because they've messed it up the first 17.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, but Charlie Crist is no different than Rick Scott in the pay-to-play area, and I'm sure that if you were to look into everything, there's definitely huge contractors that got, huge government contracts who gave lots of money to Charlie Crist in return, or, gave it to him first in the expectation of getting a very large contract. And Rick Scott did the same thing. He did it over and over again. We talked about it last week, but this is just another one of those things where Charlie Crist was giving judicial appointments to people who gave him large campaign donations or would be favorable to his law firms or his friends in law firms.
Yep.
And now Charlie Crist's answer to this, it's gibberish. The guy's a convicted felon. You can't believe anything he says. It's garbage, rubbish. He should crawl back in his cave.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I really do hope that they do start some kind of a trial on this guy, even though they probably won't. Because this is the kind of thing. You were literally paying to play for judges. They shouldn't throw you in jail for this, Charlie Crist, you tan-looking SOB. They should throw you under the jail for this. You are, and again, you're such a scumbag. You're such a piece of junk. Everything that you had said is, it's all lies. You're willing to say anything to try to get back into this office. Anything. You're willing to make any statement and say anything. You're the one that signed the bill that made it harder on drug offenders. You were known as Chain Gang Charlie. Mm-hmm. These are not things that we're just making up out of thin air. And for the Democrats, I don't understand you. I don't understand you. You guys don't ever call the Republicans hypocrites. Don't do it, because you just laid the trump card with Crist. Yep. You laid down the trump card. For all the stuff that they'll do, at least they won't go back on a guy like Crist. You guys will welcome him with open arms because he's one of us. Why? Because he's a corrupt SOB just like all the Republicans are? You show yourselves as fools with this one. Fools.
No, and, it's one of those things where some of the things that, because I joked from the beginning that, normally he's on his apology tour. And it was because as the governor, he made it, just marijuana reform in and of itself, just that one subject. Now he's saying he's for, medical cannabis, maybe full legalization. He's not sure. But when he was governor, he wasn't. And when he was governor, he had many opportunities to decriminalize. He didn't take them. In fact, he made sentencing worse. He made it to where you were considered a drug trafficker if you had 26 plants in your possession. And that's not whole mature plants. That included seedlings. So that means if you had a seedling that was absolutely wouldn't do anything because it's a seedling of anything doesn't produce anything. Now you're considered a drug trafficker.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh. Well, I know that he's invoking Jeb Bush on the condition of the GOP. So Charlie Crist, now remember this. Well, I'll get to that in a second, but he goes, I think I'll quote Jeb Bush. He said it better than I ever could. Today's Republican Party, at least the leadership, is perceived as being anti-woman, anti-minority, anti-immigrant, anti-education, anti-gay couples, anti-environment, Crist said Wednesday on CNN Piers Morgan's Live. Pretty soon there's nobody left in the room, he added. Okay, first off, you hugged Obama and they threw your ass out. All right? So you didn't leave voluntarily necessarily. You saw that you weren't going to win, and so the politically expedient thing for you to do was to run MPA. Now, running MPA, you still lost because you hugged Obama. But let's go back into some of this thing on what you're calling the Republican Party leadership. Anti-women. Okay, you signed all the bills when you were a Republican that would have caused them to say this. Anti-minority. Again, you're the one that signed the laws. Anti-immigrant. You're the ones that signed the laws. Anti-education. You're the one that signed the laws.
Race to the top.
Yeah. Anti-gay couple, you're the one that put the ban in place. Mm-hmm. Anti-environment, well, whatever. You are the one that did all this stuff, guy. How can you be forgiven for this? You're the one. You know what? If the Democrat Party selects Charlie Crist, then the Democrat Party is anti-women, anti-minority, anti-immigrant, anti-education, anti-gay couples, and anti-environment by the simple statement that you elected Charlie Crist. If you nominate him, any kind of honest perception of your party is gone. Gonzo. And then this scumbag won't even debate somebody that has been a Democrat for a long time in Nan Rich and is running from her like he's scared for his life. Because you know he is. Because you know Nan Rich will be able to bury his ass. But instead of doing that and other Democrat leaders stepping up and say, Charlie, you ought to debate Nan Rich. Instead of doing that and being honest, they're keeping their mouth shut. They're keeping their little rat mouth shut. You bunch of hypocritical bastards. The lots of you. At least I ain't going after Republicans today. I got enough for Democrats today all day long.
But you are. You're going after Charlie Crist.
Good point. Very good point. Very, very good
I think
point.
he's just confused. You know, he has some identity confusion,
He's schizophrenic.
or he just wants power, and he'll do it in whatever vehicle he thinks will give it to him at that point.
Well, that's the truth.
Look, if Charlie Crist thought he could get an extra vote by going onto the stage, pulling down his pants, and showing everyone his ass, his pants would already be on the ground. They'd already be there. He'd walk around naked. He'd walk around just with his stuff hanging out, having a good time. You know, well, I'm Charlie Crist, whatever.
Charlie, we don't want that. Don't think that what Alex is saying is actual advice. It's not. It was a joke. Them just jokes.
Yeah. Here's another thing too, by the way. Charlie Crist, and he wrote a new book called "The Party's Over: How the Extreme Right Hijacked the GOP and How I Became a Democrat." Listen, here's the thing. I'm getting really sick of this lie too, because this is a complete lie. First off, I'm so sick of the word extreme. You want to know what extreme is? You want me to tell you what extreme is, in my opinion? $17 trillion in debt. That's extreme. Okay?
That was bipartisan.
Yeah. What's not extreme is wanting to balance the budget. That's the not extreme part. So let's go. Extreme, $17 trillion in debt. Not extreme, balancing the budget. So when you say, well, the extreme right, which, don't get me wrong, there's some people on the right that I definitely don't agree with. However, balancing the budget ain't one of the things that made him extreme. Raising it and spending more money than you have is extreme.
And stupid.
And, well, not to mention stupid, and destructive and damaging to the country. And if you signed an unbalanced budget, you really should be shot for treason. But irrelevant to that. Let's keep going down the road here. What else is extreme? Allowing the states to deal with things that the states are supposed to do because it's written that way in the Constitution. Is that somehow extreme, Charlie? You tan little man, you. There's things that the federal government does, and there are things that the state government does. That's the rules. They wrote a whole Constitution about this. As a matter of fact, we had a war to make that decision. And it's not extreme to say we want to make sure that happens, because the other things aren't necessarily extreme. They violate the flippin' law. That's not extreme. Now the other thing is, well, you know, and again they go down the religious path. Well, these religious people, they want to be able to teach their kids about whatever. You know what, man? That ain't your business what they teach their kids. That ain't your business. All right. Now I know that we've decided that we're going to have, get everybody and get the government involved in education on the state level. And while there's nothing I can do about that, it ain't extreme to say the federal government shouldn't be there, because the last time we read the Constitution, don't see that crap in there, you bunch of dumbasses.
I believe the 10th Amendment allows us to keep that right to education in the states.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Since it's never mentioned anywhere in the Constitution, isn't that what the 10th Amendment says? What's not there is like the
Relegated
rights
to
of the states and the
yeah.
people.
Relegated to the states and the people, yeah.
I'm no constitutional scholar or anything, but
you can read.
But you know what else? But you know what else, though? Charlie Crist, you're just a corrupt son of a bitch. You know you are. It's coming out that you're corrupt. It's an insult to the people of Florida that you've even made a decision to try to run for office again, you bastard. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What else we got going on here? I'm pissed.
Okay, well...
You got something else that's going to make me even angrier?
Probably.
All right.
The GOP conference chair, Kathy McMorris-Rogers, faces possible ethics inquiry. What's happened is they're saying that the Congresswoman actually mixed campaign funds and official funds to help in her House leadership race in 2012.
There you go, GOP. Just to go to show you that, let's categorize this under, thank God she's not a libertarian.
Right. Well, libertarians wouldn't be mixing funds. They'd be trying to end getting the funds. Because these were official funds. So these were funds that actually were supposed to go. Every representative and every politician, no matter whether you're on the state level or the county level, you get so much in a budget for your own staff or your office and things like that. It's no different in the House of Representatives. You get a budget. You can't use that budget to run for any position. So that means you can't use it. And most of the Congress men and women know that you can't use it for your official campaign or your reelection campaign, but you also can't use it for a House leadership race. Like if you're running for, the minority leader or the majority leader, you can't use your office budget to do that.
I guess not. I guess not now.
Well, maybe there was some confusion. What's funny is that this is this just came out just in the last couple days, but this was who gave the GOP State of the Union response. So this is who they put up as the person giving the State of the Union response, and they find out a couple days later, well, she may have had some violations of the use of funds.
Boy, it would be so extreme to actually vote for a libertarian instead. If you vote for them, then one of the corrupt two SOBs will win, and we can't have honesty up in Washington, D.C. That would be way too extreme.
Well, yeah.
You extremists that want honest government, why would you say such silly things? I hate you people.
Well, I mean, I understand why it happened. They get into office and they think all the money's theirs. There's no
Right.
distinction between.
Yeah, it's all just my cash.
Well, and most of it's and this is a largely thought out thing in government, that when you get your budget for the year, you make sure to spend every dollar. And the reason why, even whether you need it or not, is because you don't want to get less money next year.
Yep.
So, and this is not just a federal issue or a state issue. This is in every government agency everywhere. The overwhelming thought is spend every single dollar, even if you don't need it, to make sure that you get that much next year or even more, just in case you need it next year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they go in, and this is why all of a sudden when you go into your local government office, there's always something new. There's always, well, why did you all get new desks? It seemed like last year you just got new desks. It was because it got towards the end of the year. They hadn't spent their whole budget, so they had to start spending it on something. And that's what they do in the U.S. House, even these office budgets. It's, well, we have to make sure that we all get this money. We don't want to look like we don't need it. So they just spend and spend and spend. And, I'm sure she probably had no idea that, things that were going to her leadership race was coming out of the House budget, because in all honesty, these people are idiots. They don't know what's going on in their own office. They're not even reading the legislation. There's some staff member somewhere just telling them what to do.
Yeah. Well, no, and you're right about the spending. It is systemic. The problem with Washington and Tallahassee and almost every other government agency is actually a systemic one. So I'm not going to say that it's not. They need to change how they buy stuff, and they need to change how they budget. If they were to do those two things, if they were able to change how they budget and able to change, the methods of budgeting and setting up these budgets, if they were to do that, it would actually fix at least, I would say, 15% of the spending would be fixed almost from year to year. Like, they would really be able to go down 15%. And you'd have to, you'd have to put drivers in it in order to fix that. And it really does have to be a systemic change. I mean, you have to put the people in office that would be able to do this. And it ain't nobody up in Tallahassee, and it ain't nobody up in Washington right now. Are very, very few people, if any of them, are able to do this.
If you were to incentivize people who basically was in charge of the office budgets or the whatever level of government you're at, whoever's in charge of that budget, if you were to incentivize people and give them like a bonus if they spent less money, you incentivize them to find savings, to find the way to spend less money, you would see a huge reduction in the budget all across the board. Mm-hmm. Because when you're incentivized to spend less, and you already know you're spending money that you don't need to spend, you will not only not spend the waste, but you will find other areas to cut. Because it's in your best interest to be fiscally responsible.
Yep.
So all these Republicans that talk about, well, we're just trying to get back to fiscal responsibility. Why aren't you doing that in your own office budgets? Why aren't you doing that in your department budgets?
And some do.
No, some do. It's the vast minority.
99.9% of them don't.
Right. So, there are a few, people out there who do take that into consideration, but most of these Republicans that you're putting in office that are telling you about how they believe strongly in fiscal conservatism don't even believe that in their own office. Don't even direct their own staff to be fiscally conservative. So it just shows the hypocrisy. Just like, every Republican, well, I just want to make it so, I want to get rid of business regulations and, and we're going to create jobs by getting out of the free market. But then you close entire industries like the internet cafes. And it ain't because you don't believe in gambling, because you're still running a lottery or letting Indian casinos run throughout the state. So it's no issue with gambling. Mm-hmm. You've just closed an entire industry, lost 14,000 jobs. How dare you say that you're the party for smaller government or less big business regulations or private sector jobs?
Yeah.
Let's get to work putting people out of work.
The only thing that you actually believe in when it comes to less business regulations is less business regulations for your friends.
Exactly.
Less business regulations for your campaign contributors.
Preach it, girl.
We want to create jobs as long as those jobs are because our companies, our friends are growing so big because we've given them such a monopoly that they're creating the jobs. Because nobody, not one Republican up there, is caring about making sure that a small business can thrive. They're being snuffed out of the marketplace every day. And you don't see one person up there trying to make legislation that would actually get out of the way of a small business. It's all about who's giving them campaign contributions, and let's give those people a monopoly and then try to tout ourselves as the party that just believes in getting out of the way of business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very true.
While they spend more time crafting legislation that creates barriers for entry on small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. Unless you go up there and think about it like this. If you sue the government and win, if you take them to court and win, you have to lobby Tallahassee to get the money.
Yeah.
You got to lobby Tallahassee to get the money that you won by suing them. But here's what you have to do in all reality. You got to pay the lawyer once to win the case. You got to pay a lawyer twice to get the money. Mm-hmm. So they got two ways in which they're getting paid up in Tallahassee.
They get you coming, they get you going.
And who does that favor? The
lawyers in Tallahassee.
Right. And most of the professions of every single politician up there, is there a lawyer?
Yep. I've been saying that at least for decades. We need to stop voting in lawyers. The job of a lawyer is to circumvent the law, to manipulate the law, to find the loopholes, to find the ways to work around it, to manipulate that language in ways that is to their benefit. When you elect those people, they're now going to write the laws that way, and they're going to write them in such a way that only a lawyer can understand it. So the common people, the people who have to live under that law, we have no idea what it says. Right. And it's by design. And they know every loophole. They know every way around it. That's what their job is. We need to stop electing lawyers. If someone on the ballot was a lawyer, vote for the other person. I don't care who they are.
Yeah.
Well, and this is what people don't know. Some of the games that are played up in Tallahassee, and this goes on in Washington, this goes on all over the place. What happens is they'll tell someone, hey, can you sponsor this bill? And then you look at the bill and it'll be, someone sued government, and because of the amount, it has to be an actual piece of legislation before they can pay it out. So that person will look at it and look at, okay, well, they sued, they won. I don't know why we didn't just pay them, but okay, support the legislation. And that person will be told, we're actually not going to approve this year, but we just have to put it out there. But, just sponsor it this time. It's, it's an issue that you talk to your constituents about. So, it'll look like you're trying to do something for them. And we're not going to pass that. I think we're slated to pass it in 2016. So they're already manipulating the public by saying, well, look, this person actually believes in your issue because look at the bills they put forward. Full well knowing that they have no intention of even passing that bill for 2 more years and paying out on a settlement because they've harmed someone else. Government has harmed someone. That person sued them and won. They're going to push it off for more years. but then give it to some politician saying, well, that's an issue on your platform, so it'll look like you care.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Anybody that wants to give these guys a pass or say anything nice about any of the politicians in Tallahassee or Washington, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to Tallahassee for a week or two. I want you to go up there and I want you to talk to your politicians. I want you to and ask them honest questions and wait for honest answers. You're not going to get any honest answers, but go ahead and wait a little bit if you don't mind. But go up there and you see for yourself what we're talking about. You go see for yourself how bad it is up there with these guys, and you tell me if you're ever going to support any of them again. Because again, we hear this. You hear this with some people, hypocrites within this movement. Even within our own movement, you hear this from the hypocrites. Is that, well, we got to support the Republican because the Democrat's really bad and she might win. You go doing this with the Jolly race. It's a good example. The Jolly race, Jolly, Sink, Overby. We got to vote for Sink. We got to vote for Jolly because the Alex Sink is the most evil person on the earth, and if she wins, then hell will come to earth, and cats and dogs will live together and
mass hysteria.
And you got to do this. You just got to do this. And if anybody that's going anything other than this wants Sink to win, and so they don't believe in liberty and freedom. Right. This is what you hear from. Again, I'm allowed to name names, right? Nick Egoroff, who's actually makes Charlie Crist look like politically a political party consistency. He makes Charlie Crist.
He's a loyalist.
Makes sense to say. So he's one of those guys. Grady Peeler's another one of these guys. Who else is on that list? Finzer, which surprisingly enough, Darrell, another one.
Oh well, yeah.
These guys are such loyalists to the GOP and such loyalists to anybody that's running GOP that it doesn't matter. Like Jolly.
I think in some cases they've bought into the lie, and I think in some cases they actually are they're really trying to. I think some people have bought into the lie, and I think some people know it's a lie and perpetuate it because they're just party loyalists.
Yeah. Well, at any rate, this David Jolly guy, again, and we've said this before, we'll say it again, donated $30,000 to Democrats since 2006 and gave money to Bill Nelson, some other people in Florida,
Kathy
Castor, who legitimately is some pretty evil people, by the way. Jesse Jackson Jr. This is what Jolly did. He did this. There's no getting around it. This has been done by David Jolly.
He lobbied for the bailouts.
They lobbied for the bailouts. Again, they can go, well, he lobbied to privatize Social Security. Well, actually, I didn't mind that lobbying. He lobbied for the Medicaid, for privatizing Medicaid. Well, I didn't mind that one either. You giving back to people's vouchers? I'm not even hating on you for that one. You lobbied for the bailout, you scumbag. That's what you did. You lobbied for the bailout, you piece of crap. Now, these people... No, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, and there's a lot more on his list that he actually lobbied for that grew government and grew it at astronomical rates.
Yeah. So... when everybody goes, well, it's the special interests up there that are damaging Washington, D.C., you're right. And David Jolly was one of the leads for that. But that's what his job was. Now, he mixed it in with working in with Bill Young and not working with Bill Young. And so now he gets to invoke Bill Young's name, tries to stand on that guy's dead grave in order to try to get elected into office, which is what he's doing. For those Republicans that are telling Lucas, oh, you should get out and support Jolly, you people are not liberty people. You people are not supporters of the Constitution. You're not any of those things. And you can go and say, well, we just disagree on this issue, and there's no need to say that I don't believe in that. Well, no, there is. You don't. They're obvious you don't. You are a GOP firster who is a hypocrite and a liar for what you're doing. And you are, and don't get me wrong. If there is a heaven and there is a hell, you people are going to hell for what you're doing. Now, and I know Chris is going to hell too. I know all Chris is going to hell. But Grady Peeler's going to hell. All right? Mm-hmm. Nick Egoroff is going straight to hell. Unless you change your ways and repent and tell people that you're not the liar anymore that you are. Because you guys people are liars. You guys are scumbag liars to tell Lucas, to have the nerve to tell a guy who's been running for that seat for a year, who got in the debate, who's doing all this stuff, oh, you just need to get out and support the Republican. Screw you! I'm not ever going to support a guy that's a freaking lobbyist up there lobbying for the bailout. The thing that started the movement that you claim to be a part of was lobbied for by the guy that you now say people should vote for in this primary. Really? Really? evil. Evil is all I got to say about you people. You people, I don't, look, I've left a lot of those pages and I don't talk to any of those people anymore. But the reason I don't is because you people are evil. You really are. You're the most. My problem really comes down to the hypocrisy of it. What I really hate more than anything else is the hypocrisy of it. For you to make the claim that you're for limited government and all this stuff in the Constitution, you throw all of it out the window for guys like Romney. You throw it out the window for guys like David Jolly. You throw it out the window for a whole bunch of people. And then you have the nerve to get mad at me because I won't fall in line with the people that you support. Are you kidding me? Do you really think that that's it? Does that even make any sense in your pea freaking head? It shouldn't, but for some reason it does. And same with Daryl. Like, these guys, you guys are evil. You better hope that the atheists are right. You better hope and pray that all the atheists are right and that you just die. Because if not, you're going to hell. Go ahead, Danielle. I'm sorry.
Well, and we have this conversation a lot, and I've had the conversation a lot because of Lucas's race and because it is so local and because a lot of the people that, are kind of involved and even in that district are people who we've worked with on other issues. And what I don't think that a lot of them realize is that we don't agree with you on the issues. Like, there's a big disagreement between the Liberty Republicans and the Libertarians, and it's not just on candidates, it's on the issues themselves. Mm-hmm. And it's not even, we disagree on the deal breaker issues. Like, my deal breaker issues, and most Libertarians' kind of deal breaker issues are not the same deal breaker issues as the Liberty Republicans.
Mm-hmm. Stop calling them Liberty Republicans.
Will you just let me finish?
Oh, go ahead.
I didn't say anything about what you said. Don't say anything about what I said.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
So, we have this disagreement on the issues, and especially the ones that are most important to me are not the ones that are most important to them, and the ones that are most important to them are not the ones most important to me. We're never going to agree on the candidates, not ever. It's never going to be that way. And we're not stealing your vote. We're not splitting the vote. We're not taking an election from you. We're putting someone in the race that holds our values so that we have a chance for our values to be represented in Washington or in Tallahassee or in our counties. It has nothing to do with about stealing votes from a Democrat or stealing votes for a Republican. We disagree with both of them, and we want our views and our values and our beliefs represented in government also. And how can you tell me that I shouldn't have that? How dare you tell me that my values and my beliefs and my principles shouldn't be represented somewhere in the government because that may cause you to lose? Screw you! I shouldn't forego my chance to have my beliefs and my values represented because you might lose. That's your problem, not mine.
Yeah. Well, my problem with it is that they support these candidates, and then the candidates don't go in and do what they said.
Right.
And basically, these candidates are mocking these people at this level, these keyboard commandos that criticize all of us on the internet, but aren't actually getting the benefit from these candidates that they support. They support these Republicans. The Republicans get in office, and they get screwed. That I got blocked yesterday by one of those people because I made the comment. I would rather lose as a libertarian and know that I'm not a willing slave than win as a Republican while filleting these power mongers while they mock me. Mm-hmm. That's what you guys are doing. They mock you. They make fun of you. They laugh at you because you are under their thumb. You are on their leash. And even though you claim to have an ideology that disagrees with everything they do, you are still obedient. You are a slave. It does not matter how sweet your rations or comfortable your chains. You are still a slave, and you do it willingly.
And continue to do it, and then criticize other people who don't want to be in the same enslavement.
Exactly.
I just, and we get the split your vote all the time. And the funny thing is that we get it from both sides. Like, these guys in the GOP who claim that they agree with us, but then we'll sit there and say our candidates are only in as spoilers or to split the vote. Hey, guess what? There's a lot of Democrats that on issues pretty much agree with us that say the same thing about our candidate. So if we're splitting the vote from both sides, we're not splitting anything.
Exactly.
And in all honesty, when it comes down, Every candidate has a chance to win. Get your voice out there. Get your values out there. They all three, the Libertarian, the Republican, the Democrat, all have very different platforms. Pick the one that you like the best. That's it. Everyone has a chance to win. There is no, well, if you like this person, you want this person to win. No, I just want he represents my values. That's who I want to represent me in government. That's it. I want my values represented. And that's the one that best represents my values. And if that means that, and if your candidate is better than mine and more people agree with you, then they win. And if they don't, then they don't. It is not my job to make sure your candidate wins. That's your job. Better work hard at it, because I'm at a lot of doors.
The other problem is that they think because they win an election, they rule. That the dissent that comes from people like us or the opposing party that lost against them doesn't matter. As if an election means you are king, that you get to do what you want to do, that dissent is irrelevant. That's how both the Democrats and the Republicans rule us. Because they don't legislate, they don't govern, they rule. That's exactly how they operate. They don't care about dissent, they don't care about disagreement. They think that 51% means they get 100% control.
Yeah, 51% of the 40% that actually decided to show up to vote, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even 51% of the voters.
Yeah, they're not even getting 51% of the people to say, yes, we want you to represent us.
Yeah.
And that's what they forget, is that we're actually voting for them to represent us, right, not for them to rule us. You are supposed to represent us and do what we tell you to do, not what your party tells you to do, not what you were paid to do by campaign donors.
Yeah.
You got quiet.
Go ahead.
We're on a roll.
Well, I did pull another story. We were, talking about marijuana reform, things like that. I thought this was kind of interesting. There was a Florida crime lab chemist that was arrested and has been charged with stealing the drugs in the evidence that he was testing and replacing them with over-the-counter medication.
Wow.
Awesome.
So, he would go in and he would be testing, this is a chemist, so they test to see what actual, narcotic it is. And what he was doing was taking them, stealing them, and replacing them with over-the-counter medication so that it would still be pills in an evidence container. It just wouldn't be the actual narcotics. And then he was actually selling the narcotics to other people.
It's brilliant. It's like the druggy version of Dexter.
Yep. Now they're gonna have to redo 2,600 cases.
Right. There was 2,600 cases now that they have to look into the evidence to make sure it's not aspirin.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if you could make the case that he didn't steal them, that it was always over-the-counter medication.
I imagine that was what their defense attorneys are going to say.
Yeah.
And just overturn all of the convictions.
There's going to be a lot of them probably going to get overturned now.
Yep.
Well, that would be good. I mean, as long as they weren't like a violent criminal. Now, this is actually in Escambia County, so this is, kind of way up and in the Panhandle. 2,600 cases, that's a lot of people that are going to be put out of jail, or may possibly, and we have to say possibly released from jail. It's they've charged him with this. We don't know what all the circumstances are. He hasn't been convicted, so he does have the presumption of innocence. But if this is true, there's a lot of aspirin and evidence bags in Escambia County.
Yeah. What's up?
You're just very quiet.
You're very quiet.
Oh, okay.
And that's very weird.
I gotcha. All right. I guess, what are we going to go to next then? What do we get next?
Well, I noticed there's a lot of stories here in show prep. The one that I think is great is the story about Adrian.
Oh, the CBS one?
The CB.
It is pretty funny.
Really, the first thing after reading these comments and the results of this, it's a joke, not a dick. Don't take it so hard. Okay.
Well, hold on. You got to let them know first. First thing happened was CVS put out the press release saying that they're going to stop selling cigarettes in their stores. So, and they make a pretty decent amount of money. It's billions of dollars that they make in cigarette sales, and they're going to go ahead and stop selling cigarettes. Now, I had put out, by the way, a post that basically said that they have every right to do that. I cheer them. It's a win for liberty that they want to do this. But at the same time, I'm not going to go there anymore. They're allowed to do this. The government didn't force them to do this. They did it on their own. Then I called and talked to Adrian on the phone, and I explained, well, they ought to get rid of all the other stuff that they have there, too. All the junk food and candy, because I read their reasoning. CVS's reasoning was that it wasn't healthy. So I went ahead and called Adrian and was like, well, they ought to get rid of all the other stuff. So then he kind of takes that, twists it a little bit, makes a little bit of it his own. Enough to where I wouldn't call him to complain. And went ahead and put out a thing saying that, thank you for stopping to sell cigarettes. While you're at it, please get rid of all the other things. And then put, thank you very much. And then put Walgreens underneath it.
Yeah, sincerely Walgreens.
Yeah, sincerely Walgreens. And he put it out there, and some people were like, I can't believe he's a libertarian, and he would say this, and this is so stupid, and I can't believe that this is what he would want to say. And what they didn't do was read.
Yes.
At least the bottom, where it said flippin' Walgreens, you dumbass.
Right.
It's a joke. It was funny, actually. It was a lot funnier than a lot of jokes these people make that
What's
are
even funnier is the idiots that can't freaking read.
Yeah, that they're, I can't believe a libertarian would say this and want to be involved in this, in what a private company decides to sell. He was actually saying that Walgreens would say that, and they would be thanking them because they just got more customers.
Besides, you should never be surprised about anything that comes out of a libertarian's mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
Because libertarians are all over the spectrum, and we have so many beliefs, and every once in a while you're going to hear something that just makes...
Yeah, but he doesn't believe that one, though.
No.
That's the thing.
It's a joke. That's the whole point. It's a joke.
Yeah, well, his actual thing said, Dear CVS, thank you so much for your decision to stop selling tobacco products because they are unhealthy. We strongly recommend that you stop selling all soda, chips, candy, and other snack food as they are also unhealthy. Sincerely, Walgreens.
It ain't even that long.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't even have to scroll down to get to the Walgreens part, you dumbass.
It wasn't even like read more.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, I think this is kind of a symptom of the internet age, the information age, because you see this a lot, not just on this post. You see this on a lot of posts and a lot of articles and things on the internet is people read until you hit an emotional button and they stop reading and they start typing and they put the caps lock on and they go off in the comments and they never finish reading. And the way that most articles are written, the best part is at the end. The part that brings everything together, that makes you understand, it's all at the end.
Right.
So when you read the first paragraph and get pissed off, that's not the time to go to the comments section. That's not the time to draw your conclusions and start getting pissed. How about you finish the whole thing and then see where your opinion falls?
Yeah, so, and it actually, all of the comments on his actual Facebook page were very like, that's funny. Wow, that's funny, that's funny. Someone actually posted on Reddit and took it out of context, and then everybody after that was like, I can't believe the libertarian would say this, and they went through this, and you could see people in the little thread going, it's a joke. Didn't you see it says from Walgreens? Yeah. But then you'd see people go, oh, sorry, I didn't see it was a joke, and then go right back into the...
Yeah.
Well, why would a libertarian say that? And then it was just hundreds and hundreds of comments, and every once in a while someone would go, it was a joke.
Oh, it was a joke? Well, I'm still pissed and I got nothing better to do, so I'm going to keep complaining.
I'm just going to keep on going. But yeah, so Adrian got a little heat on Reddit for it, but it was all fun. It was a joke. It was sincerely Walgreens. I don't think Adrian cares less what CVS sells in their store.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hour number 1 is in the bag. Hour number 2 is going to be coming up. The hour number 2 is live on Tan Talk 1340, at least for this week. Oh, no, not live. Going to be tape delayed this week on a Tan Talk 1340 is what we're going to have. Website is 1787network.com. When we get back, we're going to get into the District 13 debate. We're going to have Brandon from the Global Dispatch on, and we're going to talk a lot more about the special election for District 13 that has Lucas Overby in it. You're listening to Liberty Underground. We'll be back.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater. This is Alex Snicker, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, the Duchess of Doing Stuff, Danielle Alexandra. Good morning.
Good morning.
Doing well? Mm-hmm. Greg Bowen, the sinister, or the minister of the sinister. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Doing great.
All right. Well, we'll get right into it. By the way, if you do want to call the program, the Refresh Telecom lines is 1-800-525-4032. Refresh Telecom, 1-800-525-4032. We won't sell your information to the feds or give your information to the feds without at least without a warrant.
And even then, it'll be questioned.
And even then, we'll figure it out for sure. On Monday night, there was, since there was no Monday Night Football on anymore, they decided that they were going to have a debate.
That's exactly why they did it.
Yeah, that's exactly why they
It
did
is,
it.
yeah. No Monday Night Football. So we had to have a bigger fight.
Yeah. So what they did was down in the Pinellas County area where you guys were at, they actually had a debate, and in that debate they had David Jolly, the Republican, they had Alex Sink, the Democrat, and they had Lucas Overby, the Libertarian. Now, it was a debate that was put on by Bay News 9 and the Tampa Bay Times.
The St. Pete College and the AARP.
Yeah, the St. Pete College and the AARP were all putting this debate on. Initially, they weren't going to let Lucas in the debate, but then they decided about a little while ago, it wasn't like an overnight thing, but at a certain point, they did decide that they were going to have Lucas involved in the debate, which was a good thing considering that between Jolly and Sink, they've canceled just about every other debate that's going on. And that's one thing to let the listeners of Congressional District 13, which is where we air this show at, is that the reason you don't see more debates isn't because...
Or candidate
forums, has to do with the fact that both David Jolly and Alex Sink canceled on most of them. Or they went to Washington for a fundraiser or Tallahassee for a fundraiser. That they decided that we're not going to sit here and have forums and debate the issues so you can figure it out. And even when we are in a debate, all you're going to do is just, the other guy's, Alex Sink is bad. She's Obama, and Alex Sink's going to go, David Jolly's bad. He's an extremist. And, that they both go back and forth. And, they've used the lobbyist thing on Alex Sink and the Democrats have used the lobbyist thing a lot. Now, what I do find to be funny about that is that Alex Sink is claiming, and saying all these bad things about lobbyists, which, to be honest with you, a lot of them are true, while she's taking money in her current campaign
from lobbyists.
Yes.
So, just a complete hypocrite on this part. She's taking lobbyist money while she's using that, or the Democrats are using it to make a commercial to call David Jolly a lobbyist and why you shouldn't vote for him, which David Jolly was a lobbyist and you shouldn't vote for him for that reason. But it's because of that same reason, and the lobbyist influence in Washington, D.C. is why you shouldn't vote for Alex Sink. So if you have a problem with lobbyists, then in all reality, you should vote for Lucas Overby, because both of these people have given or gotten a bunch of money from lobbyists. They're both part of the problem. But with that being said, and the fact that, these people have no shame whatsoever, they did hold the debate on Monday night, and Lucas was up there acting like the only adult on the stage.
Yes.
Only adult on the stage. The only person that, while these two were pining back and forth about how bad the other one was, Lucas is talking about solutions. He's talking about what his plans are, why he's running for office, what he's heard from the constituency, because he's actually been talking to the constituency and not the special interest lobbyists.
And just a side note real quick on what you're saying there and what you said before. There are a lot of organizations and groups trying to hold debates, trying to hold candidate forums, and Jolly and Sink are the ones that are backing out on them.
Yeah.
That's why they're not happening.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with Lucas. Lucas will show up anywhere. Lucas will show up to any one of the debates. He doesn't care. But these two, Sink and Jolly, just start canceling stuff. And so they held the debate on Monday night, And what was your overall take on the debate itself, Danielle?
I found that both Jolly and Sink really had no real substance in any of their answers. A lot of their answers was an attack on the other one instead of an answer on what they believed in. I actually thought, the first time Lucas actually stepped into one of this, just kind of. They're like fighting like children across the seats because he happened to be sitting in the middle, and he just kind of interjected all of a sudden and said, neither of you are talking about solutions. You're just fighting over these things, and I just want to fix things, and then that wasn't his exact quote, but it was, let's start talking about what's going to fix it, not fighting with each other on how bad the other one is. This is ridiculous. At another point in the debate, I thought it was funny, both of them are, again, squabbling with each other across Lucas, basically, because he was in the middle. Both of them leaned in. So they're not, they're kind of leaned in towards him and fighting over him at each other.
Yeah, because he was sitting in the middle.
And he just kind of sat back and chuckled. He was like, pfft, and like chuckled and started and laughed a little. And the crowd actually reacted to his laugh and started laughing.
Exactly. As they should have.
Because it was just so absurd at points. I think that, there was... The only time you got an actual answer was when the question was a yes or no question. And even then, they would kind of start to, pontificate on, they would go way long, especially Alex Sink. And you just got a whole lot of words and a lot of personal, well, when I talk to this person over here, there was a lot of these stories that really sometimes didn't even make a point to the question. Mm-hmm. And they both just seemed to kind of talk a lot.
Yeah. And then what happens is the same thing that happens every time. Like there's this new, Alex Sink says the debate show Jolly is extreme. Now, that's not what really happened here, even though and again, what's the word extreme mean? Oh, he's extreme. What's he, an extreme skateboarder? What's he, extreme at motocross? He's an extreme bike rider. He's just extreme when it comes to his positions. Are you kidding me? It really is funny that this is what they do. And Sink, you know what you showed when you were on stage? And again, I called other people to ask their opinion as to what was going on.
People who don't normally follow politics.
And they thought you were a witch. Except for they didn't use the W. They put the B there. That's what they thought you were when you were on stage. And then you got so flummoxed when somebody asked you a simple question of what's the difference between an entitlement and welfare. And welfare. What's the difference between welfare and entitlement, which you should know the answer to very well. I mean, hell, you've participated in corporate welfare for years. So it's not like we don't know that. And by the way, you lost the state of Florida in the employees fund, I don't know, $26 million? I mean, is that how much money you lost to them? Maybe that might be considered a little extreme, I would think. And then this whole Southern drawl that you like to fake. I'm an old Southern girl. I wasn't what was she kept saying?
When I lived on the farm.
Yeah,
in North Carolina.
Yeah. Is that before you went to work for Bank of America? Is that before you went to be a banker?
Well, I love how many anecdotes that she told that did not take place in Pinellas County in Congressional District 13.
Not only that, a lot of times they didn't even have anything to do with the question.
No.
And at the end, she would give this story and be like, and why I bring that up, because I understand some confusion. Yeah, because it didn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, her answer... They'd ask her a question, and her answer would be, I didn't really understand the answer of David Jolly. What did he say? I don't really understand that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. That was another one that was pretty funny, by the way. Her keeps saying all the time, oh, I don't understand. I just don't understand. Again, people were looking for real answers. People are begging for real answers. I know I walk around I walk around Pinellas County in helping Lucas Overby. I actually go around talking to the voter. I know that's something that you don't do because you spend too much time getting money from lobbyists and then make a commercial that claims that you don't like lobbyists. What I do is go out and talk to average voter. And what they're telling me is that you are not worthy of their support because of the way in which you act. You people, you and David Jolly have just gone down the same road that always goes down. And I think that this time it's going to cost you guys. It's going to cost you guys. Because I'm talking to the voter, and they're not happy with it. And I can't imagine that they would do anything but see what the truth was, which was that Lucas Overby won that debate.
Well, and it was said there's actually a story out, and this is out today in the Tampa Bay Times, that says that the winner of the debate was clearly Overby. And this is, I believe this is Chris Ingram who's saying that it's the winner of the debate was clearly Lucas Overby. That Jolly and Sink had some core convictions, but really didn't say much of anything. Lucas came out there, had, actual real answers, he really did win the debate. Now it goes on to attack him, saying that he can't win and all this other stuff, but even people who are not advocating for Lucas had to agree that he won.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hands down. It was completely objective. Yeah. Lucas won. No doubt. Yeah.
He looked like the only adult on the stage.
He looked like the only adult on the stage. He's the only one that answered every question that was asked of him.
And followed the rules.
Not only did he answer every question that was asked of him, he answered them by identifying the problem and offering legislative solutions. Not pie in the sky hopes or philosophy. He offered legislative solutions. The only time those other two ever told the truth is when they were criticizing each other. Everything they said criticizing each other was absolutely true. Right. That's the only true statement that came out of their mouths.
Yeah. And I do like now, Lucas had a really good kind of interjection, because at first they had been talking about the repeal of Obamacare, which Jolly said it's a bad law, we have to repeal it. And then on immigration, which came up right afterwards, Jolly kind of gave an answer of, well, we have to keep it. I know it doesn't always work, but we're going to have to keep it. And Lucas said, so we repeal Obamacare because it's a bad law, but immigration is a bad law and we keep it. I don't even know how that makes sense.
Yeah, it's silly.
Yeah.
Called it silly.
He called it silly. And, and so he had he stayed away from the attacks on them when they said something, absolutely absurd. A couple times he did interject with, this is absurd. I mean, he didn't say those words, but, he definitely would put stuff in there. But for the most part, he spent his time, the time that was allotted to him, giving real answers for real problems and real solutions, the way he sees it and the way he's been told by all of the constituents in the area that have talked to him, where the other two took their time to say how bad the other one is.
Yeah. And it's not even like he gave all libertarian answers either, by the way. Because not every answer he gave was what you would consider to be, a purist libertarian answer. He gave what he's been labeled by other people, and I think this is a somewhat of an accurate label, is pragmatic.
Well, and he labeled himself that.
Yeah. So again, it's, and I think this is where libertarians themselves can go one way or another. I like what I'm hearing, because I don't necessarily like everything I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, there was another part of this debate that a lot of questions arose from, and that was the yes or no section, and they asked, would you overturn Roe v. Wade? And Lucas answered yes. And we were sitting in the audience. We were next to a couple that was actually there to find out who they were going to vote for.
Right.
They were there for the purpose of the debate, to hear these people out and hear what they were going to vote for. After we went to break, the lady leaned over to us and was like, well, what does that mean? Is he not pro-choice? What does that mean? And Lucas had to come out and put out an explanation on his Facebook page. And actually, Danielle, you can probably articulate this explanation better than I can.
Well, yeah, and I don't have it pulled up, so I can't read it verbatim. But basically, what Roe v. Wade does is actually, Roe v. Wade is not a law. It's a ruling based on the interpretation of other laws, which doesn't actually make it binding. It doesn't make it to where, it doesn't ban anything. It doesn't legalize anything, because it's not legislation. It's a ruling on what some people thought of other legislation and how that would apply. It also doesn't give the states the proper authority in their business. And if you heard Lucas in the debate, he was definitely more in let's leave things up to the states that should be with the states. So the overturning of Roe v. Wade didn't mean he was pro-choice or pro-life. It meant that he didn't think we should be basing our opinions on the opinion of the court when we don't really have anything in legislation that really says anything. And in all honesty, a lot of this issue needs to be handled in the states where it should be. And that was the long answer that he would have given. But because it was a yes or no question, he had to say, yes, he would overturn it. And not overturn it because he thought that, women shouldn't have the right to an abortion, or it was more of, this isn't legislation, so we can't base what we do based on the ruling of a court, because we actually need legislation in place that really spells it out.
Right. And that's the Roe v. Wade is an example of a ruling that people are referring to when they talk about activist judges and judges legislating from the bench. That's what that is, and that's what a lot of libertarians have a problem with it. Pro-choice, pro-life doesn't matter. They have a problem with the decision regardless and want it overturned.
Right. And I agree with the decision, but I also agree that isn't a law. Yes. Because and what most people don't understand is that the actual ruling of Roe v. Wade, which is not a law and it's not binding, it really isn't, is that abortion has to be legal up until the point of viability, and after the point of viability, it should be relegated to the states. So that means that after the point of viability, it would be up to the state to decide whether they found it to be legal, illegal, what they wanted to, how they wanted to regulate it, and what they wanted to do with it. But that anything up to the point of viability was definitely an issue of a woman's choice what to do with her body. And that is the actual ruling of Roe v. Wade.
It also includes funding for abortions as well.
Which should never be done in a court ruling.
Exactly. And that's where most libertarians really get to their issue with it. That's where I have an issue with it. I guess you could consider me pro-choice. I don't really like either label, but I do support the right of that medical procedure being legal. I do not support any taxpayer dollars having to pay for it or being required to pay for it. And so I support overturning it as well, not because I don't believe in a woman's right to have that medical procedure, but because I don't believe in the American citizens having to pay for your decision.
Yeah, and that was a lot of Lucas's issue with it, that, he didn't get to explain because it was a yes or no question. And so when you only hear, yes, you're making an assumption of the reason why, and not really understanding the full reason. And, I'm glad that Lucas stuck to the rules. I think it showed integrity, that he was willing to, even though the rule may not be able to give him a full explanation, that it was the rule and he followed it. And I think it was very disrespectful of the other two to not follow it.
I'm probably going to be in disagreement with you there, because as a libertarian, I believe that there is a time when rules must be broken. And we've got to play the game by their rules. Basically, the Democrats and the Republicans make the rules of this game, and we have to play with them and by those rules. And when they're breaking rules, we got to be prepared to do it as well. I think Lucas should have expanded on his answer. I think he should have done what they were doing with every yes and no answer and expanded on that, because he knew as well as we did, that's a gotcha question as a yes or no.
Right.
That's really what that is. You phrase that as a yes or no, that is designed to pigeonhole you into the yes or no and get you stuck. And neither David Jolly nor Alex Sink allowed that to happen in any of the yes or no questions. Right. And I think Lucas should have asserted himself and not allowed that to happen on that question. He should have followed the rules on all the rest, because yes or no was just fine on all the rest of the questions.
Right.
That one needed some expansion, and I think he should have. I don't think he's wrong for not doing it, but clearly there's a firestorm from that's being dealt with now. And had he expanded a little bit, obviously the moderators weren't going to do anything about it. They weren't doing it about Jolly and Sink.
Yeah.
So he could have got by with it, and it would have prevented some of this firestorm. But I also think that sticking by the rules also shows his integrity. Right. I just think that he should have asserted himself and taken that opportunity to explain it myself.
I hear you. I don't want to say I don't hear you on this one. I'm glad he followed the rules, and I think that we should go in there for the debates. And again, I think there's a difference between playing the game and being a dick. And don't be a dick. You know what I mean? Don't do that. So I think that you gotta go in there, and you gotta. if they're going lightning round, yes or no questions, then you just answer those. You know what I mean? You do that, and neither one of them would do that. His competition wouldn't do that. But I can only hope that the people that were watching the debate saw that and had some amount of respect for that.
Right.
Whether that's true or not, you know, I think you got to follow by the rules. Now, there's certain times where it starts becoming like mass chaos that you got to say something. But typically that time you got to tell these other two, kids, calm down. Let's try to act like adults here. And it wasn't just on the stage. We had Republicans that were behind us that were, again, the funny part about it is these people will actually sometimes try to make Republicans have a very funny way of trying to make libertarians feel mad or feel bad that their candidate doesn't win and they want to blame us like it's some kind of our fault, or like we shouldn't be, like we should be upset about this, like, well, you guys caused the Democrat to win, like we care. But
we weren't going to agree with either one.
Yeah. But the thing is this, though, you make it personal the way that you guys act. And again, I mean, look, we went to that place. We were all nice and cordial. We didn't say, we weren't, loudmouths. We acted like we were supposed to be there. We did it. We all did a good job. We sit down and they're doing mic checks, and they, mic check it up, mic check it down. And they do mic check for Lucas, and he, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then this woman behind me, this ugly little woman behind me, says, "Oh, look at that! Oh, how cute! He can count too." Or how did it go, Danielle?
Yeah, and the funny thing is that we were just talking about, like, no matter what happens up there, let's just be respectful, and we'll discuss it after the debate. And they're doing the mic checks, and then the woman behind me says, "Oh, well, at least he can count to 10."
Yeah. Now, for retaliation, every time there was a break going on, I would stand up and I would say about as loud as I could say. I wouldn't scream in it, but I would say it loud enough to where the people in the immediate area heard it. And I would say, well, it looks like you can do a little bit more and count. Again, very passive aggressive. Wasn't saying it directly to the woman, was just saying it loud. No, she heard it. No, this ugly, disgusting human being heard it. So you see that going on, and then she said something else. And again, these guys are cackling and all kinds of stuff. And we were told in the beginning, no cheering for your candidate or their answers or anything like that. No cheering for that. And the Republicans all broke the rules and would cheer when, would do that. But libertarians are always the ones of being accused of being, rowdy and all this other kind of stuff. The funny thing is, these guys who want to claim that we are somehow like the bad guys there or doing something, negative, who's costing your boy votes? It ain't the libertarian. It's your boy. David Jolly's costing you votes because, one, he's talking, and then you guys are costing people votes too because you act like a bunch of fools when you go up there. You act like a bunch of mean people that don't even deserve to be in the room, and all the things that Democrats say about you are all true. Mm-hmm. If that's the way you're going to act. But here's the thing. You got a chance here to prove everybody wrong and to prove that you're not just a fall-in-line person, and you can actually vote for Lucas Overby, who's the guy that you should be voting for to begin with. He's the guy you should be walking for right now. He's the guy that should win this race hands down. To beat the money, to beat the special interests, to beat the evil that's going on, Lucas should be the guy that you're voting for. So if you're out there working for Jolly, you're out there working for Sync, like we've said before, man, don't come back to us and get mad because your person won or lost and you want to try to not take personal responsibility and blame one of us for it. Because you need to take personal responsibility for yourself and for your actions, more importantly. I'll never vote for a Republican or a Democrat again. Never. Never. And you know why? Let me say it like this. I got this whole thing about evil and not voting for it. It's just me. Nothing I can do about it. But let's take a break. We got Brandon from the Global Dispatch when we get back. He's going to tell us all about the news that we missed and offer his witty banter for what's going on out there. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground. If you'd like to call the program, the Refresh Telecom lines is 1-800-525-4032. That's 1-800-525-4032. Before we get to Brandon, Danielle, parting words about the debate. What was your overall take on the debate?
I was really proud of Lucas. I think he did really well, and I'm interested to see. I'm actually very excited to go out walking this weekend because I think that we're going to start to get people actually discussing some of his answers on the debate, and I'm actually really excited for that.
Yeah. No, I am. I'm looking forward to doing that. But on the line right now, before we get out on the street, considering we don't want to do it today because it's raining out. Before we get out there, though, let's talk to Brandon from the Global Dispatch. Brandon, how are you, sir?
I'm so blessed. How are you guys?
Doing very well. Now, were you able to watch the debate? I wanted to get your take on this as well. Were you able to watch the debate?
I didn't watch it live, but I have watched it, yes.
What was your overall take on it?
Well, I think all the coverage I think that you guys were discussing, as well as what's been in the papers, pretty much sums it up. You have two-party politicians who didn't answer a whole lot of questions, didn't really offer a whole lot of solutions, and it's pretty much what you expect. I mean, you expect the Democrats basically a Nancy Pelosi vote, and you expect the Republicans basically a John Boehner vote. And The Libertarian set himself apart, at least from that, and a lot of folks have said that he won the debate, and that's kind of where the narrative is.
Now, do you think that he won? Because you did get to watch it later on. Do you think that he won? Do you personally think he did well enough to consider himself a victor in that debate?
Yes, I do.
And then that's being objective, because if he wouldn't have, you'd have said that.
That's correct.
Okay, good.
I think there are a couple spots that he, because of the structure of the debate, because of the structure of the lightning round in particular, he sounds voting a certain way that's going to be confusing for folks and can create a separation or a barrier for people that have those as hot topics. But that's going to be the case no matter what if you follow those kind of lightning round sort of approaches to things.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And he does have an opportunity, because they are going to have him on
Political Connections on Sunday.
Yeah, on Sunday he is going to be on Political Connections, and the funny thing is that he's on the Sunday before the absentees drop.
Yeah, absentee ballots are actually sent out today.
Yeah, the absentee ballots are actually sent out today, so these people are going to be able to see him on Sunday, and then Monday or Tuesday they're going to get their ballot in the mail and be able to make a decision at that point. He's going to have, at least as when it comes to the media aspect of this campaign, of Lucas's campaign, even though it hasn't been very good, because I think that a lot of the articles that have been put out, while they'll mention him or they'll put him in some context, they don't put him. He's an afterthought in most of the articles that they write, and I wish that wasn't the case, but he is getting more attention than I've seen with other candidates in the past. What do you think about that, Brandon?
Well, actually, we were a blog earlier this week. I did an analysis of the Tampa Tribune article and kind of really bashed the Tribune. They mentioned Alex Sink 8 times. They mentioned Jolly. Then Overby gets kind of an afterthought with 3 mentions, and just no real quotes, no real attributes to what his contribution was to the debate. In fact, I just thought it was handled very unprofessionally. And then I followed that up, of course, with the analysis of an op-ed that came out yesterday, which clearly says Overby won the election. However, he has, quote, no chance of winning. So we've kind of tried to do our best with kind of calling the media out on it. There really wasn't a lot more commentary or analysis of the election that we're going to be, I think, doing at this point. But it just kind of shows where the media is. The media looks at everything as 2 parties. They love that. You can pit A versus B. That's what's going to get them ratings. That's what's going to get people interested in talking about things. They do not like the concepts of a third option at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know what's funny is, so the person that actually wrote that
is Chris Ingram.
Is Chris Ingram that wrote that, huh?
Yeah.
Man. Wow. We know Chris Ingram, too.
Yes.
We used to
15 minutes of fame was how he described it for Overby.
Right. And he said he had no chance of winning, although he did speak very favorably to all of Lucas's answers, says he clearly won the debate. He was very favorable, and, he answered with real answers, talking about solutions. So he's very favorable in the article, and then said, but he really has no chance of winning.
Which is...
And I would disagree a little bit with his own, to give him any credit at all, because he didn't really quote Lucas. He didn't really give him any real...
Right.
He didn't really back up his assertion that Lucas won the debate by giving details or explaining why he felt that way. He just kind of says it. Then he goes on to explain how Jolly and Sink are really 2 hollow politicians that bantered back and forth and didn't really provide a whole lot. And it really doesn't matter, because it's going to come down to who has the most money. And that was pretty much his analysis.
Yeah, that was his...
So, I mean, it's a great big step up from the other Tribune article, in my opinion. However, it still just kind of shows how bad the media is.
Well, yeah, and it shows. The thing is this. What's funny is that all these guys, and you see this happen all over the place. Their complaint always is, the special interest stuff, and that we got to get, we can't have all this, it's the money in politics that's the problem, and this and that, and then they go back to, well, but he doesn't have enough money. Like, shouldn't you be saying that's a good thing? Like, if money's the problem, this guy's out there doing it the right way, which is feet on the street and going around, and he wins the debate. Wouldn't it be a better thing to say when you're on there that, and this guy's not collecting the special interest money that the other ones are gonna collect, so he's gonna be more beholden to the people? Like, it just seems to me that should be your talk track if you were being honest.
Well, if they're being honest, then we would have sort of the Hollywood story in the headline on the Tampa Tribune should have read Overby crushes Sink and Jolly in debate. Everyone would be scratching their head going, who's this Overby guy? And they love these sort of stories when it comes to movies and all that. They love the underdog in sports. They love all of that. But when it comes to politics, they back off that completely, and they only want to pitch the same two parties over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, at least Ingram was honest in the fact that he won the debate. It sucks that he used that honesty to try to propagate another myth, which I didn't realize it was Ingram that said that, and now I'm going to have to go see Chris Ingram. I haven't seen him in a long time. It's been a while since I've talked to him, but now I'm going to have to go and talk to him again. So this conversation won't be anywhere near as pleasant as other ones have been in the past. So, but at any rate, what else is going on out there, Brandon? I know that on the front of Global Dispatch, you have the Super Bowl sex trafficking crackdown leads to 45 arrests and 16 children rescued. What was going on up there to cause this?
Well, I think that every year the FBI has done a better and better and increasingly better job working with local authorities and all that to really have a crackdown, because the Super Bowl has really become one of the main targets and magnets for this side of human and sex trafficking rings, and they were able to at least really do some good there. Every year it's getting better and better, and the article really kind of helps detail some of the arrests and what they were able to accomplish. The CBO information, CBO says the Obamacare numbers are down, the jobs are being lost, the deficit is better for now, but it's going to skyrocket within a couple of years, ironically, right after the presidential election. So that was also big news as well.
So after the election, it's going to skyrocket, but for now, it's okay.
Exactly. Well, it's the same thing we had with Obamacare, right? So all the problems are going to happen in 2015. So we got to get through the midterm election. We kick the can. We have the Democrats. This is the way to go. We'll fix it all by 2015. Republicans just go along with it blindly as always. And the problem from Obamacare moves to 2015, so it's not actually going to hit us as much this year. Now, I believe it'll hit us a little bit in the fall as employers will, wise up to what's coming, and you'll start to see some shifts in, around September or so. It can impact the election at least a little bit. But the major financial crises, at least that can's been kicked beyond, or at least to 2016 or 2017.
Yeah. Now, if you remember correctly, and this is totally, kind of off subject, but on subject at the same time, do you remember the Dylan Radigan rant that they did, that he did on MSNBC before he quit MSNBC? Do you remember that, Brandon?
Oh, yeah.
And this is exactly what he was talking about. What he's mad is that people just kicked the can down the road 4 years instead of addressing the real problem. Now, Dylan Radigan's, he's not a libertarian, mind you, but I would say that he was much more of an honest guy on that network than they've had in a long time, and they don't have anybody even close to him now of being honest. But that frustration is a frustration that a lot of people, like regular people, feel. When are we going to start seeing that? And maybe you don't know the answer to this, but when are we going to start seeing this when it comes time to the vote? Like, are we? People see this. There's 9% approval ratings in Congress. All these signs that show and other polling that show that people really are sick and tired of this stuff, and yet we're not seeing that show up when it comes to electoral politics, unless you want to count that less and less people are starting to vote, which that could be one of the things that you see for electoral politics on the response to this. But what's your take on that line of thinking there?
Well, I think what you see, and this is really probably better applied to the Democratic Party because they're guys in power, and that is you do see some frustration. I mean, Lawrence O'Donnell, for instance, wants to lose his mind, and the point of their frustration is that nothing's moving fast enough. When you have the president who says to the legislative branch, I'm going to keep moving forward, I'm going to do whatever I have to do if I have to use executive order, they're cheering that. That's what they want to see. They want to see this all move forward. They want to see that move towards more of a left socialist approach to things. Now, the reason I believe that they're a little bit on the quiet side is because, we are headed into a midterm election. They know better than to, put too much gas on that fire. They don't want the pendulum to swing too far away from them. And at the same time, I believe they really do have a lot of confidence that Hillary will be the candidate and will completely easily win. So until things start to show differently than that, and we get past the midterm election, I don't think you'll see a lot more of that boisterous Dylan Radigan sort of approach to speaking out from that side. The Republicans are just talking to themselves at this point because they basically just have the House, they're the bad guys. They're the ones holding everything up. And there's no good that can come of that because nothing they can do go anywhere because of the Senate and the president having stopping power. So you're really kind of at a really nice, pleasant stalemate if the Republicans in the House can hold anything still.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. What else is going on out there, Brandon? That's on the Global Dispatch.
Well, we have all sorts of different stories and categories. Just for you folks that are in Pinellas County, by the way, Anne Frank's stepsister will be in town here, so you want to check out the press release and the information there. She comes to town. You'll be able to get a chance, so kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hear her speak and speak about the Holocaust and the amazing story that she has. Belgium, of course, is going to move forward with their authorizing euthanasia for juveniles. That's not really been the case there. They've become the second country in the world to do that. Netherlands is the other one. Netherlands have also been criticized because the moment that it become legal and they expanded it, they have a rise now of 13% in euthanasia cases. And a lot of pediatricians, a lot of doctors are coming forward talking about the Netherlands is not a positive example, it's a negative one because there's so much ambiguity and gray area as far as when these decisions are being made, and they think it's such a slippery slope. But that was something that I think was thought to be tabled maybe closer to May, even maybe beyond that, and it's being moved up very quickly because the opposition is rising very fast, and they're going to push it through. I believe they'll push it through next week.
That they're going to push it through next week. So what are they, euthanasia for kids? What is the justification on why they're going to do this?
Well, it's just an extension of how they've justified doing it for adults. You know, if the child has cancer, they claim it's a life-ending thing that we can just do it now. We don't have to make the child, quote, suffer or go through this. Many of the pediatricians say, number one, we don't need this law. We already have all the tools in place to create the environment so the child's not in pain. We have all of the pain management tools we need. We don't need to actually put the child down. And many of the critics, especially from a religious standpoint, really have pointed to that, listen, the healthcare has shown no sense of morality at all. We can hardly trust these people to be ethical, that they're not going to misuse this, especially with some of these governments. And I think if this happens in Belgium, you'll start to see it move a little bit quicker through the European Union countries as well. And the frustration from the critics is that, listen, they're going bankrupt. They're running out of money for health care. The last thing we want to do is have them have more authority and more power to put people down, claiming that they're going to die. So that's really kind of where the battle has begun.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, also there was another report that was on the Global Dispatch that was proclaiming abortion rates were the lowest since Roe versus Wade was legal in '73. What's this report all about?
It's just that. I mean, really, kind of surprising news. I don't think anybody expected the numbers to be dropping yet again, and we included the chart that was put out by the group that did this information, tracks this. This dates 2011 because they really need that long to really try to sift through that much data, is what we're told. And the graph really shows, a spike during the Reagan administration right after he took office in 1981, a huge spike, and then it's kind of been dipping down from there. And a lot of folks really are now using this as a way to kind of say, listen, the states that have put in restrictions, the states that have put in different guidelines, as far as, let's put in a stop at, 25 weeks, whatever, late-term abortion. All these different things that have pushed back against Roe v. Wade haven't really affected a woman's opportunity to have the procedure done if she needs it, and the rate has gotten lower. Out of choice, not because of these restrictions. And they have all that data there, and you can kind of see how that all kind of aligns. And it's really just a fascinating data that I have to be honest, I was even surprised by.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, and look, if the rates are going down, that's actually a good thing, not a bad thing. I mean, the less time, again, whether somebody agrees with it or disagrees with it, abortion is not necessarily not a good thing, even if it's something where there's honest disagreements on both sides. On to a different subject. Have you seen the Snowden interview in Germany, the new Snowden interview in Germany?
No, I have that at the top of my list of one of things to get to, and I'm very pleased that he's at least able to do some of these, so I'm fascinated to get to it.
Okay, well, now, the one thing I guess you can report on this part, on the Snowden interview, was that no American media has picked it up. You haven't seen any, have you?
Well, I haven't seen it, so therefore I'm not going to report on it.
Oh, I got you. I'm saying the fact that no American media actually picked up on it, though. Like, you haven't seen it
Oh,
anywhere
that
else.
doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me at all. It's really not. I picked it up because I cover so much international press and through Twitter and stuff. I knew about it, Glenn Greenwald and all. But yeah, no, they're not going to cover it.
Now, it really is amazing that they're not covering this. Considering that what a big issue it ends up being.
It was such a huge story, and it's something that people, even our legislators, are still speaking about and talking about, nearly all the time. And yet to not play kind of the other side to it, I mean, just kind of shows like the media's bias towards, the current politicians and the current policies that are going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I did watch the interview, and I thought it was actually a good interview. Not only that, is that guy is not like a crazy. He's a well-spoken guy. Like, he really does lay it down very, very well. And it's sad that he's not getting more attention when he does an interview like this in American media.
Well, I think that's why he's not getting more attention, is because, the government is actually trying to demonize him. And if you actually hear his words, he comes across very articulate, very trustworthy, he knows what he's talking about, and he's very factual on things. And I think that to the media, and especially to the current politicians, is not going to be in their best interest to have people hearing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right about that. Now, last thing that I wanted to talk to you about this week was, now the Super Bowl, they were doing a big crackdown. The police were doing a big crackdown on sex trafficking, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. But it looks like they might have taken their eye off the ball of actually having good security at the Super Bowl, because they let Malcolm Smith all the way to the podium where the after game interviews are being held. Can you go into this one a little bit?
Well, Malcolm Smith was the MVP.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not Malcolm Smith, the other guy, the Brooklyn guy, Matthew Mills.
Matthew Mills is a 9/11 truther, and he interrupts Malcolm Smith's Super Bowl MVP press conference, yelling out about the government did 9/11 and you need to investigate and whatever. And the guy basically has come forward, and he's been identified, and he's basically detailing how he used an old press credential that looked close enough to the Super Bowl press credentials to hop on the right kind of bus at the right time, and just continued to move along, thinking that he could just get close to these things. He'd be able to write about them on his blog, and little did he know he actually got all the way up and actually yelled into the microphone before he got himself escorted out and ultimately detained.
Yeah, now the other thing is this shows you he went through multiple layers of security with an ID that's just an old ID, with a story was like, I'm just running late for work and I got to get in there. And it was that simple. Like, he was able to simply tell a very simple story where if anybody would have done any research or checking into the person, he would not have gotten nearly as far as he did. But they let him all the way through. Does this just show you that the security that was going on at the Super Bowl, for all intents and purposes, is a joke?
Well, they should be embarrassed. I mean, I've had harder security than that getting through, comic book shows. I mean, this is crazy to believe that a guy can get this close beyond security and that far with these players, and then not be scrutinized at all. So it really is just shocking.
So hold on a second, Brandon. Let's just make sure that you get this correct. That you're saying that Comic-Con security is better run than Super Bowl security?
Based on getting to Malcolm Smith's interview, then I would have to say yes, because I don't believe I'm going to get that close to Stan Lee or William Shatner speaking at MegaCon.
You can get closer to the stage for the Super Bowl than Stan Lee. That's okay. You know what? I'll have to go with that, Brandon. I'll have to definitely go with that.
Maybe a bunch of people actually, maybe all of the players on the Denver Broncos were actually held up and tied in closets, and those were just citizens who had gone through security.
That would explain it.
Because that certainly would make more sense.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? There is one last thing with Brandon, though, before we let him go. Walking Dead this Sunday, I think, is the new episode. Am I not? Am I correct here?
I believe it is next Sunday.
Oh, next Sunday. What do you think is going to happen here?
I have two stories on there, so I'll let you read them for yourself. We have two stories. Robert Kirkman and Daryl Norman Reedus both speak out on the final 8 episodes about what to expect and all that. You can check that out there in the TV news category. And for those of you that watch the Super Bowl, I had actually had a request to put this together. In our opinion section, you'll see the Radio Shack Super Bowl ad. If you saw this is full of 80s cameo characters, from Cliff Clavin from Cheers to Hulk Hogan. we kind of break that down and make sure you know who's who, because there's a lot of little fascinating cameos in there, and a lot of people didn't know who certain characters were, and they asked me to put that together. So there you have it.
There you go. His name is Brandon. The website is The Global Dispatch. Brandon, we thank you for your time, brother.
You guys have a good week, and talk hard.
Talk hard. All right. Well, thanks, Brandon, for that.
I do have to say that the Radio Shack Super Bowl commercial was my favorite.
The Radio Shack one. Which one was that one?
Where they were like, they called and they want the 80s back.
Yeah.
I don't remember
that was
that
the
one.
best commercial.
I don't remember that one.
You laughed. You were with us. When you were laughing too. And they call the Radio Shack store. That's all. It has all the old Radio Shack equipment and all the old displays, and it says the 80s called. And then all these old 80s characters. Hulk Hogan comes in, like you said. The Cliff from Cheers, and all these people come in and actually like destroy the store, and they put in a whole new modern look.
Man, I don't remember that.
Oh, man. It was the best commercial of the night. In fact, I was very disappointed.
I got to go back and watch that.
Me and Kelly were watching the Super Bowl. You were kind of in and out. You were doing some other things. You weren't really interested. But me and Kelly were watching the Super Bowl the entire time. And we both said we were really disappointed with the commercials. Like, the commercials weren't very funny. They weren't even really entertaining at all. They were just kind of blah, except for a very few. And our hands-down winner was the Radio Shack commercial. You'll have to replay it because it was actually funny.
Oh, okay. Well, by the way, it does say on Brandon's site that The Walking Dead's going to be back February 9th, so that is this Sunday.
That is this Sunday.
That is.
So I think that I'm going to have to correct him off of his own information.
Maybe he should read the Global Dispatch.
Yeah, you ought to read the Global Dispatch. That way he'd know what's going on. I mean, it's good.
Hey, Brandon, you have this website? It's called the Global Dispatch, and they actually have really, really accurate information on it.
Yeah.
A lot of good news and information on there. You should check it out.
Yeah, you really should, Brandon. It's a good time.
The funny thing is that's a joke that we always say to Adrian when he'll be like, have you guys heard about this? And it'll be like a story we just put on the website. We'll be like, hey, Adrian, we have this website. It's called the 1787 Network. You should actually look at it every once in a while.
It's this new thing called the internet, and we all got it.
I don't want to tell Adrian. He might twist around with it and put out a quote that gets on Reddit.
He may make a joke, and all of a sudden, everyone on Reddit is like, "Those people are nuts over there."
I'm not telling him anything. I'm not telling him any good stories anymore. Nothing. No more ideas for the Wiley. He's banned from good ideas for a while.
Nah, you got to save your zingers for the show.
Yeah,
man.
exactly, man. I had a good one going on there, and this guy went ahead and put it out.
Well,
not happy. Not happy, by the way.
Think about it. In CVS, if they take away all the unhealthy stuff, what are they going to be left with?
Hair care products.
No, that's a lot of chemicals and
There
stuff.
is a lot.
Oh, yeah. No.
I'm saying greeting cards.
Fingernail clippers.
No, hey,
tweezers.
Those are dangerous.
a
TSA
weapon.
won't even let you take them on a plane. Come on.
Oh, that's true. Okay, we got to get rid of those too. Hold on. Coloring books.
I agree with Danielle. They're just going to be a Hallmark store after this. It's going to be just change it to Hallmark.
That's funny. All right, guys. Hey, look, the hour's up, man. We really appreciate it. Hour number 3 is on. If you go to the1787network.com, you're able to actually see the third hour because we do that on the YouTube. Again, our website, 1787network.com. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, They work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground on the Tan Talk Radio, on the 1787 Radio Network. If you'd like to call the program, the number is 1-800-525-4032, 1-800-525-4032. Refresh Telecom. We won't give your information to the feds without a search warrant. And even then, probably not.
We'll at least question it.
We better have the guns too.
All right. This is something that we didn't have initially in the lineup, but we're going to go ahead and bring this up now. Go ahead, Danielle. Just start with this.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
This is actually
who found it? Greg or
I
Danielle?
found it. I don't know who found it first.
I don't know if I found it first. I read it. I read it in the first hour and just didn't know the good spot to put it in.
All right, hang on.
I'm going to talk about it.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, though. Before we go, I need you two to paper, rock, scissors to figure out who found it first. All right? 1, 2, 3. Wait a second.
She totally switched. You saw that too?
You went rock. Oh no, he put my fingers out.
No.
All right, do it again.
Okay.
Do it again.
On 3 or after 3? That's where I was confused.
Okay,
I always had
enough.
scissors in my mind.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, then show.
Okay.
So it's 1, 2, 3, then show. It's almost like going 4, which we probably shouldn't do. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on a second here. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3, show. No. You messed up. Remember, it was 1, 2, 3.
Whatever. I don't care, really. I don't care who found it
All
first.
right, go ahead, Greg.
The fact of the matter is, I am extremely upset. I am very upset.
Because you lost in paper, rock, scissors?
Well, that too. But
I was really mad.
you know that I am an advocate for the homeless.
Yes, you are.
I have been out there many times fighting to help these people because I don't believe government does a good job of it. And I think that we're responsible for our community and we need to help our fellow man. Well, Pensacola, Florida has now passed a series of ordinances that make it a crime for the homeless to use blankets, cardboard, or newspaper to cover themselves.
Yeah, this is from the Libertarian Republic, and some of these ordinances actually prohibit using a public restroom for washing your face, which is, I'm not homeless, and I've used a public restroom to wash my face at times.
Yeah.
But this would
I've used it to change.
Yeah, I have too. We travel a lot. This is no camping. You cannot use a newspaper, cardboard, or now even a blanket to cover yourself up to, shelter yourself from the elements.
Basically, these people are fighting against the poor. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of people who talk about a class war going on in this country, and I oppose that idea because a war implies that there are two sides fighting. There is not a class war going on in this country. What we have is the rich and powerful decimating the impoverished class in this country. The impoverished people have no way of fighting this war. All they have to do is abide by what the rich and powerful are doing to them. So it's incumbent on us, all of us, the people of this country, those of us in this room, everyone listening to this show, it is incumbent on us to take action and fight for these people. You have a decision to make. Who are you going to fight for? Are you going to fight for the rich and powerful who make every move they can to take from you and keep for themselves and prevent you from having the freedom to do what you want to do with your life? Or do you want to fight for the common man, like all of us, and help the people who really need it? There really is a distinction as to what the war in this country is. And you need to choose what side you want to fight on. Obviously, we have chosen our side. We are fighting against the establishment, the people who are decimating this country. So it's up to you guys to make a decision. And I think I'm going up to Pensacola to do something about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to do something about this. And it sucks. Why can't they do this in Pinellas?
I know. But not only are they, and what the mayor said is that, well, no one was taking blankets away from the homeless. But the fact is that they could be arrested for it.
Yes.
I almost want to not only hand out blankets, but actually we should all just sit outside for as long as possible with blankets wrapped around us.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I was afraid you were going to say that.
I know you were. I know you didn't want to hear that. But what better way to fight it than to say, well, yeah, if this is wrong, arrest me too.
Yeah.
It's just so going to be so cold up in Pensacola.
I want to wear a Snuggie while I hand out blankets.
I am. That's what we do. We'll wear nice Snuggies and hand out blankets. Yeah, I definitely think we should all be doing something about this. This is absolutely ridiculous. What they've in fact done is just basically made it illegal to be homeless without actually saying the words it's illegal to be homeless. And this is and this is someone who wrote this who actually lives there. To get into a shelter in that area, in that county, you have to have a valid ID, which most homeless people do not have.
Right.
Most people don't qualify for shelters for one reason or another, because now you have to, who has to qualify for a shelter? I'm sorry, but if I run a shelter and someone says I need a roof over my head, I don't care who you are, come in.
Exactly.
And the biggest, and this is what most people don't take into account, the biggest block of homeless people are returning veterans or Vietnam veterans that are suffering from PTSD and other, mental health issues. These are the people who, regardless of how you feel about war, they went and did what they were supposed to do. And they did it with the intention of protecting their country. Whether that was a valid protection or not, that was the government using them as pawns.
Absolutely.
But that's not their fault. But they did do what they felt was protecting their country, and now they're out on the street having laws made against them that would put them in jail for covering themselves in the cold.
Absolutely. And I make this point all the time when we're on the topic of homelessness. It is disgusting that the fact of the matter, it is staggering how many veterans make up the U.S. homeless population. Depending on whose numbers you want to use, it goes anywhere between 12% and 33% of the U.S. homeless population are United States military veterans. Even if you go on the low side of that of 12%, that is disgusting, and it should not be happening. This is the most disgusting thing. This is absolutely reprehensible. The reality is that if you want to support veterans, The most direct and effective way you can do that is by supporting your local soup kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is disgusting. It is reprehensible. We should all be ashamed of ourselves for that. And everyone who talks about supporting the troops, supporting the veterans, and then supports legislation like this, supports demeaning the homeless population and making it harder for them to get a leg up and find a way out of it, those are the people that are the worst.
The way the law is written, you would actually be in violation even if it started raining and you kind of, whatever you had with you, you used it to cover yourself in the rain. Even if you were just, walking down the street and all of a sudden it started raining, you grabbed your jacket and covered your head, or you were at a picnic and it started raining and you used the blanket to shelter yourself, you'd be a criminal. At what point do we not tell our government to stop? That they've gone to the point of absurdity when you can't put something over your head to shield you from cold or rain.
Yeah. Now, I actually have been I've just contacted, look at the bottom and see who the guy's name is that wrote it.
Okay.
Father Nathan Monk, which is funny that his last name is Monk. Father Nathan Monk.
That is funny.
It does seem a little weird that it's... Here's the thing. If your last name is Monk, shouldn't you have to be a monk, though? I don't think you would have to be. Isn't that a violation of church doctrine? If you're shouldn't he have to change his last name to Monkster or something, just to get away from the monk part? But I don't know. At any rate, though, he is on Facebook. I just sent him a message, and he does have a very beautiful trees. It's probably Pensacola.
It's very beautiful up there.
Yeah, it is very nice up there. So I am. I've contacted the father and Father Monk.
You really like that.
I love that it's Father Monk, by the way. It's pretty cool. So I've contacted him, see what we can do up there.
Yeah,
that is.
This is in Pensacola, and I have a feeling we are very soon going to be taking a trip to Pensacola. We're going to be handing out blankets to, I would say, anyone who'll take them, but especially the homeless. And I think that I know at least I will be saying, wrapping a blanket around me and saying if they should go to jail, so should I.
Absolutely. I'll do it too.
Yep.
Alex is scared of jail. He's too pretty for jail, so he's not going to wear a blanket.
No, I think he's scared of the cold. He could care less about the jail.
It's going to be cold up there, man. I don't want to. This really sucks. Why can't they do this stuff down in the Keys? Or why can't they do it closer to home? We can't get a Lake County to do something like this. We can't get Newport Richie. I don't have to go far then. Make me have to drive 7 and 8 hours. You know what it is? I'm going to be even madder that I got to drive 8.5 hours in order to go up there to try to get arrested for handing out blankets. We're going to collect blankets on the way though, and I got to tell you, I'm going to be using a whole lot of them. I'm just saying, because it's going to be cold.
It is going to be cold.
A Snuggie ain't going to do it. I'm telling you right now. The Snuggie ain't going to be enough.
Should we put out a call right now to all of our listeners to donate blankets?
Yes, donate blankets.
I'd like to. We got to set the logistics up on this, though.
Well, get ready to donate blankets.
Go through your stuff and go find blankets.
Yeah, go through your stuff. Find the blankets that you're not using. And I know if you're anything like us, you have a ton of blankets in a closet, and you only use about 3 out of the 30. So
so just find you a couple.
Come on, we're in Florida, guys.
Yeah.
You don't use all those blankets.
So
you know what? Don't talk trash about us using blankets, by the way.
But
we use a lot more than you think.
Start looking through your closet, seeing what you can afford to donate, and just grab a few. We're definitely, I think, after reading the story, going to be rallying the troops for a day in Pensacola to be handing out blankets and standing in solidarity with their blankets wrapped around us, saying, "Yeah, arrest us all." Then.
Yep.
I like this Father Monk guy, by the way, because this guy gets mad at the same stuff that I get mad at.
Yeah, he seems to, even in the. When he's talking about, and this is a father. This is someone who's definitely religious, and he says,
I think Russian Orthodox.
Yeah, I think what he says in here, and I love this. The major shelter in town only allows for people to stay there 3 days a month, unless they join their drug rehabilitation and Christian indoctrination program.
And he's against that too. Then.
And he's against that too. He's
a father.
Yeah. This is someone who definitely does believe. I mean, has faith in him. Believes in having faith and believing in God, but looks at the hypocrisy of this all. Like if you're here to help people, that can't be a restriction. Like, well, I'm going to help you as long as you do everything I say. Well, then that's not really help. You're not really there to help people. You're there to control them.
That's not unconditional love. That's
Right.
not what Jesus preached. That's conditional.
Yeah. So, I definitely, man, I wonder if they have like any ordinances against feeding people too. They must, if they can't even let them use a blanket. I say we feed everybody in.
If they freeze to death, then you don't need to feed them.
Well, no, I think we should do food too, though.
I think we should. Let's do some food.
Okay.
We'll do some blankets.
We'll
make
give
it
them a blanket and a meal. I have no problem with that.
Let's help as much as we can. Obviously, it's very cold up there, so they're going to get a hot meal and a blanket and a bunch of crazy people to sit with them saying, arrest me too.
So anybody listening that wants to get involved with this, anything that you can contribute, blankets, food, whatever, hey, let us
cocoa.
know.
Packets of coffee.
Fuzzy socks for our feet.
Yes. Sternos. Hand warmers.
Portable space heaters.
Portables. Very good. Extension cords. Generators. Whatever you want.
Man, could we set up like a whole tent city?
I think you should do it right in front of City Hall.
Totally.
Or break down, be honest with you, break down the door, start pulling the stuff out of the offices and start making beds in there. That'd give a good use for a government building. He put something on his website, by the way, or not his website, but on his Facebook. There's a picture that was shared to him, and it says megachurch because it is more important than feeding the starving.
Nice.
Yeah, I love
that.
I like that one.
This is someone who I think we should definitely start working with more because he seems to be doing good work.
Oh, I've already, like I said, I've already reached out. I found him while you guys were talking. I found him on Facebook and messaged him, friended him, then messaged him right away.
I'm messaging him gonna friend him right now too. Oh, it's a like page. Well,
St. Benedict Mission is, I think, where he's at. That website doesn't work.
No.
Oh, well, he's probably spending too much money on blankets.
Father Monk, I know you probably have a problem with homosexuality, but you are my man crush for this week.
You know what? Maybe he just feels like the government shouldn't be involved. Maybe he's like us.
It's my man crush this week. I did get a message, and unless people tell me that they can I can say their name online or on the air, then I don't do that. But it was as a gentleman, dear sirs, thought you might enjoy this. Just got off the phone. I just got off the phone. The Democrat Party fundraiser called my mother. She had passed away. And I told the caller she's not available. Well, she's not, right? I told her that we are libertarian and how can I help you? After a long pause, the young girl asks, I've never talked to a libertarian before. I don't know what to say. I talked to her for a while and told her about the fair tax. It was great.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
I love, someone called me for a poll, and I think we talked about this on air. But one of the questions after you take this poll was, well, do you identify as a Republican or a Democrat? And I'm like, neither. And she goes, or an independent. And I said, none of those. I'm a libertarian. And she goes, oh, so would that be independent? And I'm like, no, that wouldn't. That's why I said the word libertarian. She's like, I don't know how to note that.
Yeah,
I love this. I'm searching more on Father Nathan Monk. I found a YouTube video of him at the Pensacola City Council. Father Nathan Monk tells the City Council we have the right to redress our government without fear of being arrested, and is nearly arrested.
Oh, I love this guy, by the way.
Oh, definitely my new man crush.
Yeah, this guy's doing good stuff over up there. We got to talk to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
I'm very happy with this, man. Very, very happy with this.
Oh, he stepped down. He's not a priest any longer, but because he did step down.
He did step down.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
It just says
in order to love and help others do the same.
Yeah, he says Nathan Monk is an author, human rights activist, and former priest who stepped down in order to love and help others do the same.
And I bet he feels like many, many Christians that I know feel loves God, hates the church.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why he stepped down, because the church is not doing what it's supposed to do.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I found something here, by the way, guys. On Thursday, February 13th at 5:30 p.m., there's going to be a stop the no blankets for the homeless ordinance is going to be happening at Pensacola City Hall. So let me read this to you. An amendment to remove the no blankets for the homeless ordinance will be on the agenda at the upcoming city council meeting. That means we need you. Our petition has received nearly 1,600 signatures, and the local papers are covering the story, but now it's time to show up. We need butts in the seats. I don't know if that's a very nice thing to say as a father, but okay. We are asking everyone who is able to come out for this important council meeting, but you don't have to speak if you don't want to. If you'd like, please bring a small blanket with you to throw over your shoulder to show your support. If you haven't signed the petition yet, you can do it here. Please share the event and invite your friends.
I think I know when we're going to Pensacola.
Yep. Sounds like we've got a date, my friends.
And actually, this thing's up to 1753.
So, and
where is that?
We may have to plan some out, but we may be able to go up like the night before and hand out blankets and actually go out there and have blankets around us, and then be at the city council meeting the next day, or something where I think we could do both.
Yeah,
maybe.
So I'm thinking next week we will be in Pensacola.
Yeah, we're gonna. We might have to do Off the Rails live from Pensacola.
Live from Pensacola.
Yeah, we got to go up there for this.
We
man.
have
This
to.
crazy.
This is a really worthwhile thing, and something that we definitely have to make known. And I think we need to put, at least in Florida, because that's our home, put all these city councils and county commissions on notice that when you start to do these things, people from around the state are going to come against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is just dumb. Again, it's homeless people. Is this really how we want to? Is this how we really want to look as a society?
Apparently, well, the rich and powerful, the ones sitting in those seats, apparently that's fine with them.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for us to show them that it's not fine with us.
Yep. I'll be there to show them I'm not okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm not having any fun.
I'm not having any fun.
Well, I'm definitely not going to be having any fun because I'm going to be cold.
Alex is like, I don't have the wardrobe for this.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what he's thinking? I know Danielle's going to steal half of my sweatshirts just to stay warm.
He's just mad because he can't wear his camo cargo shorts for this event.
No, I'm not going to be able to do that, man. I'm going to have to. Oh boy, this is not going to be fun. Again, do this stuff in Pinellas, man. Go down to the Keys, man. What about Collier County? You can do it there. Come on, guys. No blankets for the homeless, you bunch of jerks.
And we were in Tallahassee, and it was quite cold.
Yeah.
And that's probably not as cold as it's going to be in Pensacola. Although next week it may be slightly warmer. It's still the winter. It's still going to be chilly up there, but it may not be as chilly as it was this week.
Yeah. Nah, maybe. God, I hope so. God, I hope you don't need blankets that night, man, because man, this is going to be cold.
Alex will stand up for your rights as long as it's warm.
Just do it on a day where it's 60 and sunny. Help me out. 60 or above and sunny, man. We're good.
You're still going to do it, though.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm still going to do it. No, I'm going to be even madder at the people up there because they make me have to go all the way up there. That's the problem.
He's going to be there and he's going to do it, but he's going to be extra bad because
He's
he's
gonna
got to
be
drive all the way up there and then be cold.
Like, the rants on that one are going to be huge.
Yeah.
We might have to do a special live feed from the event as well.
Well, we can pack up this stuff and, do like a remote. As long as we can get internet connection, we can do that.
We got to look into that, I think.
Yeah.
Feed this event live and, yeah, because it's garbage.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with you. I think, let's get it done. I'm actually kind of excited. We haven't done this kind of activism in a little while.
I love this image that's on the event. The Pensacola City Council focused on the important issues, like making sure you don't give a homeless man a blanket.
Yeah, it's very important, that you don't give homeless people blankets. God forbid you would actually do that.
Well, on the bright side, apparently all the other issues in Pensacola have been solved. All the roads must be in great shape. The police department is doing well. Fire department fully funded. Clearly things must be going extremely well in Pensacola for this to be their primary focus.
Yeah.
You know what? Pensacola, I know a lot of other activists in Pensacola that may join us.
Well, look how many are invited. You know a lot of those people that are already invited.
No, I
so they already know about
but
it.
there's some other ones that and some of the people that say that they're going are people that we know already.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't hear about this before now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm inviting friends, and sorry, everybody, I'm clicking on every libertarian on my friends list.
All right, hey, before you do that, get the number for PPP out.
Oh, yeah. We haven't done our daily call to PPP.
Oh, that's right. We got to do that. Hold on.
You have it written down over there?
I had it written down. My piece of paper's gone.
Oh, is it here?
I got to put it on the board so it doesn't get taken. There it is. Perfect. Okay.
Let's do our weekly call to public policy polling. If anyone doesn't know why we call public policy polling every Friday, is back in October, they did a poll on the gubernatorial race here in Florida. They did not include our candidate, Adrian Wiley. After a firestorm of contacting them, they said, please stop contacting us, and we will include Mr. Wiley in the next poll. The next poll came out a few weeks ago. Maybe even a month ago now, they did not include Adrian, and the reason was because no one told them that they wanted him included. Apparently they forgot that we had already told them hundreds and hundreds of times, and they asked us to stop. So now we call PPP every Friday just to make sure that they know that the next time they run a poll, someone has requested Adrian Wiley be included so that they have no excuse anymore to not include him.
Yes. Yes, that is the accurate way of saying that exact very thing.
And what was this gentleman's name again?
This is Dean Debnam.
Okay. All right. Well, we are about to.
I'll do some music while we're doing this. Where is? Oh, here we go.
There's the Skype music. Dean Debnam?
Yeah, I believe that's who it is. I'm gonna
can't come to the phone right now.
There it is.
Please leave a message.
You know, I got to tell you, Guy, this is going pretty quick to voicemail. I don't know why this is. This is Alex, and your answering machine is live on the air
again.
Again, we are calling again to figure out why you did not include Adrian Wiley in your latest poll when you know that the last time he was included, he was polling at 8.7%. Is that what it was?
8.7%. And you also did promise the Wiley supporters and people across the state of Florida that if they stopped contacting you, you would include him, which apparently was a complete lie.
Yes, you did lie. So we are going to continue to call you, at least every Friday from 9 to noon, to let you know that you need to include Adrian Wiley in your poll.
Maybe we should start doing it at random times so that...
Maybe we might do it at random
times
as well. Well, we'll see. But it went right to voicemail this time, so we know you at least got the number identified. You tool. Make sure that you put Adrian Wiley in your last poll. And here's the thing. We're not going to be nice about it. We'll be nice after you include him in the poll. Until then, you get what you get for being the liar that you are.
Your message has reached the maximum.
Oh, we reached the maximum.
Re-record your message. Press 1. Discard your message. Press 2. Mark your message urgent. Press 3.
Mark it urgent.
We're totally marking that urgent.
Your message has been marked urgent. Re-record your message. Press 1.
All right, hang up now. All right. We've made the call.
Fun.
We got the call in.
Weekly call to Dean Debnam.
Good job.
Yep. Good job, everybody. Everybody did a good job on that one.
Nice team effort.
Now, you know what? We did talk about the CVS thing before, but I didn't want to bring that thing back up because we didn't really get into the whole story, I don't think, did we?
Okay.
Right? We really didn't.
Yeah, I mean, we did it briefly.
We did it briefly. Okay, for those of you that don't know, CVS has put out a press release, and in the press release, they said that they are going to stop selling tobacco in their stores. The reason that they're going to stop selling tobacco is because they sell pharmaceutical drugs, and they think that because they sell pharmaceutical drugs, that somehow it's the cigarettes and the tobacco that are the unsafe things. So they need to quit selling cigarettes and tobacco because they're involved in healthy. They want people to be healthy. Now, there's been a lot of people, and now the government didn't force them to do this. There's no law that was passed. They made a decision to just not sell tobacco products anymore. And as a company, they have every right in the world to do this. And I applaud their right to do this. However, first off, I'm a smoker, and I'm not going over there anymore to buy cigarettes, seeing as how, one, that they don't have, you won't have them after October. But more importantly, I'm just not going to give them any more money. Here's the reason why I'm not going to give them any more money. It has a lot less to do than that they're not selling cigarettes anymore. It's that their reasoning behind it is hypocritical. Because if they actually believed the crap they were shoveling here, then all of the other things that causes more death than cigarettes wouldn't be sold there either. So all your candies, all your sodas, all your Yum Yums, all your Snow Caps, all your Kit Kats and Tic Tacs, and your Nutty Buddies and your Charleston Chews, and your
Butterfingers.
Butterfingers.
They have the new peanut butter cup Butterfingers.
Oh, that is good, by the way. All your snack foods, all the snacky stuff that's there needs to go away.
Sodas, probably the chemical-laden over-the-counter medication that is known to get in the hands of children and kill children, because I guess this is for the children. Also, which does not actually help anyone. It hides their symptoms for a short amount of time and does not actually take away anything. Also, all of your prescription drugs that have more side effects and kill people more than the cigarettes, those should go. So your pharmacy should close down.
How about all those toxic hair dyes?
The toxic hair dyes and shampoos and all the makeup and all that puts all the chemicals into all of our skin and all that. Those should all go. Most of the cleansers, all your cleaning products are very harmful chemicals in them, even to inhale them as we use them in the house. So those should go. I don't know what they're going to... Oh, the Photoshop should go because those chemicals are so harmful to the environment.
Oh, my God. They're horrible. There's silver and mercury and all that in the developer. Oh.
Yeah, so your Photoshop's got to go too. I think you were right, Greg, when we talked about this earlier, that they should really just sell out to Hallmark.
Yeah, because the only thing that's safe that they sell is greeting cards.
That is kind of funny that the only thing they sell is safe is greeting cards. I really do find that to be pretty humorous, actually. But look, and again, though, they have every right to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say that they don't. I think that their reasoning is hypocritical, but they still have every right to do it. So,
and we have every right to not shop there anymore.
Yep. And we do, and we have and we're not gonna. Right. We'll see what happens. But I will say this: I'll bet you that there are people that are very anti-smoking that see this and will do business with CVS.
Absolutely.
And they have every right to do that as well.
Every right to do that as well.
Whatever the free market dictates, whether their business goes up or down, that's the way it should be. That some people are going to like the choice and go there more. Other people are going to not like the choice and go there less. All that's going to come out in the wash, whether it was more or less profitable for the company for CVS as the company, and they'll decide how to set their policies from here on out. And that's the way the market should work.
Yeah, exactly. Nope, you're exactly right. Exactly right. Now, what else is going on? I know you had another thing when it came to the immigration front.
I did have the Republicans have kind of backed off in the House of immigration reform. They don't seem to have a real other plan in place. They've just kind of paused. So, obviously in the Senate, you saw the Gang of Eight. They put about immigration reforms that would give a path to citizenship, but as much as I agree with the path to citizenship, I don't really like the path they put out. And it also had a lot of biometric identifiers that everybody would have to get. So even if you weren't an immigrant, you were born here, you would now have to be biometrically scanned so that we could tell who everybody is. So there was a lot of bad things in that bill. But one of the big things for Republicans is immigration reform and whether there's going to be amnesty or no amnesty, which, by the way, these Republicans that use the word amnesty really don't understand the definition of the word amnesty.
Exactly.
Because amnesty is actually an official pardon of a conviction of a political crime. Coming here illegally is actually not a political crime. Mm-hmm. You would actually have to be convicted to even receive amnesty, and it would have to be an official pardon of that conviction to get amnesty. So anyone who's saying that any of these bills create amnesty, you need to go back to school for the definition of words because you don't know it.
And even giving them the benefit of the doubt there and saying, yeah, the way they're using amnesty, we'll not harp on that. But the fact of the matter is, even the way they're using amnesty they're not getting what they then imply amnesty gives them.
Right.
Because you hear them say, they're going to give amnesty to 12 million illegal people, and then that's 12 million Democrat voters. Wait, you just missed a lot of steps.
Right.
Because amnesty does not make them citizens. It does not give them the right to vote. It just means we're not going to deport them.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you're a fiscal conservative, it's a lot cheaper to not deport them than it is to deport them. It's going to cost a lot of money to find them, pack them in a truck, and move them to the border.
It's 12 million people that would fall into this category. Do you know how much it would take to deport 12 million people? I mean, it would be in the billions upon billions of dollars. Or we could find them, give them a way to stay in this country and become a tax-paying citizen that is actually helping the economy and not hurting the economy by spending billions upon billions of dollars in legal proceedings to deport someone.
Yep.
Here's the thing. The problem that most people have when it comes to immigration is the programs that people can get and take advantage of the second that they get here. So, like, if you get here, if you go through here legally, then you can, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, welfare, all this other stuff. And, they get to go to school for free. The medical care is free. It doesn't cost them anything. And now you were a person from another country that was living, horribly poor, and you wanted to make a better life for yourself. Well, you would come to America. That was happening since the inception of this country, is that people from the beginning were looking for a better life and came over here to do that.
That's how we all got here.
Yeah, most people, well, except for the Indians.
Right.
The Indians were already here. But other than that, most other Americans, and we killed most of those guys off, so it ain't like there's a whole lot of the Indians left that can really claim that, they were here. We did a pretty systematic job of
Except
messing
Greg.
up.
Greg can actually.
Greg's here.
Greg can claim that his family was actually here.
Yeah.
We're actually occupying his land.
But I'll tell you this right, you get uppity Greg and we're going to put you in a reservation.
My family did get kicked out and sent to Canada and had to sneak back, so...
Well, there you go.
Then you're Canadian.
Yeah. Well, then go be Canadian. Well, it's just so cold. I can understand why he left.
Yeah.
It's cold in Canada, man.
We're actually only kidding. We think you should stay.
Thank you.
Well, we'll see how the rest of the show goes.
See how this Pensacola thing works out for us.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm already getting flooded with messages from people saying they want to give donations, they want to go with us.
Great. No,
That's
I think
good.
this is going to be a good time.
So, immigration has always been a part of this country. The problem comes into play here is twofold. One, we've had the quota system going on for so long where we only let so many people in, and with the expanding welfare system and the expanding entitlement programs that are going on, is that coming here for the land of opportunity doesn't mean the same that it used to mean. Mm-hmm. So what do you do first? And I go back and forth on this issue a lot, to be honest with you. I go back and forth because I understand the argument of, well, you got to get rid of all these welfare programs first before you just have a flood of people coming into the country. But these people are already here, though. But they did break the law to get here, though. There is a law that says you came in here illegally. So how do you fix it? And I think that the best way that you fix it, if you make the decision, the conscious effort that you violated the law, but you want to be able to stay, then I say you let them stay, but you're not allowed to vote. You're not allowed to vote like everybody else is allowed to vote because you didn't go through it. You didn't go through the system legally.
Ever?
Now, if you choose, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, this is the two schools of thought: is that they should be paying fines, that there should be a penalty for them coming here illegally. But once those fines are paid and they've kind of done that penalty, that they should be able to apply for citizenship. And the other is they should never be able to be a citizen because they shouldn't be able to vote because they committed a crime to get here.
Yeah, those are the. And again, I don't even like the answer there, but I'm trying to think of a better answer there. Like, you still broke the law to get here. Now, that's what you did. You didn't go through the system the way you're supposed to go. Don't round up. Don't kick out. But you don't get anything. But you don't have to live in the shadows anymore. Just my opinion. And if Greg has a problem with it, we should put him in a reservation.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe in a path to citizenship. I do believe that the path should include penalties for breaking the law. I believe that, you came here illegally, you didn't go through the proper channels, and that should have a penalty. We shouldn't condone breaking the law to come here. As much as I don't agree with the laws, I don't think it should be a harsh penalty, but I think that there should be a fine for you coming here illegally. But once that debt is paid, I believe that you should have every right to apply for citizenship and go through the same process. But I also think that the process that we have in this country to become a citizen is basically a tax on immigrants. And it is a ridiculous price to pay to be a citizen here. It is tedious. It takes way too long and costs way too much. And we cannot expect anyone anyone that's coming here starting over to be able to go through that process. That process has to be simplified. It needs to be streamlined. It needs to not be $30,000 because you had to hire attorneys and everything else to be able to stay here. You should be able to, pay the fine for being here illegally. There should be a streamlined process for everybody. Even people who came here legally should not be harassed by the immigration system to become a citizen.
And actually, your point right there is why I don't agree with any penalties. I agree with amnesty with no penalties, because the government has set up such a twisted, demented. There is no way you can navigate this system and come out on the other side.
Not without an attorney.
And when you have people who have nothing and they want to come here so they can earn something, they can make a better life for themselves, that's the whole point, right? And we make it so difficult that they can't even get across the border. They can't get here. There is no way to do it. Like you said, $30,000, all these lawyers. Basically, if you're rich and you want to come here, you can do it legally. But unless you're rich, screw you. That's what our law says. And that's why, hey, the government screwed up this law. The government are the ones screwing these people. Screw them. No penalties. You shouldn't have made it so difficult in the first part. These people wouldn't have had to go through this. You wouldn't have to give them amnesty if you had a system that worked. You have a broken system that you refuse to fix. Stop holding people accountable that are just trying to live. They want to come here and get out of crime-riddled and terrorist-riddled countries. They want to come here and make a better life. If we're the greatest country on earth, start freaking acting like it. Start acting like it's a place that people deserve to come to and that we welcome people here and make it a better place for these people. Stop making their life more difficult and make it just another place where they are being tyrannized and crushed by the power. It's ridiculous.
I actually, and every time we talk about immigration, I always think of the quote on the Statue of Liberty. And I pulled it up because I want to read it. This is what it says on the Statue of Liberty, which used to be the place where everybody was processed as an immigrant. And this is the first thing that you would read as you came in. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door.
And here's the response I get from the anti-immigration people. Well, that's not a law. That's just a statue.
Well, first off, Greg, after the show today, go down to Tampa, and you are going to the relocation center. We're going to. There's a little bit of a class that you got to take. Tell everybody that you love. Say goodbye to all those that you love. But go ahead after the show today. Head down to Tampa and get into the relocation center. Take Danielle with you. You both are. It's not my call. I'm not making the rules here. I just got the message, so I'm just relaying the message. Don't shoot the messenger.
Well, guess what? This is Sparta. You're going down the hole.
Yeah, but House Republicans have basically, and we've heard about immigration reform. I mean, I think I can remember, like, as a small child, hearing about on the TV whenever an election would come out as immigration reform. I'm 35. We don't really have any. So, the House Republicans, John Boehner came out this week and said that immigration reform is going to be difficult this year. You know why it's going to be difficult? Because it's an election year for everyone in the House.
Yep. Yep, because they don't want to risk their butts.
Yeah, there's no win on this.
No, there's not really any win on this. None of the side. There is a contingent of people on both sides that are very passionate. Mm-hmm. And in this one, I would argue that we're actually the moderates in this one. I mean, we really are. I really
we
do think that
really
we're the
are.
moderates in this one. And I think the Libertarian Party as a political party, though, has a wide range of viewpoints on this. Is that this is one of those things where you have everything from Greg's position to Danielle's position to my position to even positions that are much more, these guys violated the law and they should be shipped back, and that's just the way it is. And all of them think that they're standing on ideologically strong ground as it relates towards being a libertarian. Which I actually think is one of the good things about the party is that because there's such a divergence of opinion on here, that I think the one thing that seems like a consensus in the LP, at least for the most part, is getting rid of the entitlements.
Yeah. Well, and I think most, no matter
that's the one area. Everybody's like, well, we shouldn't have that.
And most libertarians will say, our immigration system isn't working, and we can all agree it's not working. Whether you think it, should be stricter or less restrict, it's not working the way it is. And we can all agree that nobody should be living off of someone else. So, I get these people saying, well, they're coming here and they're, they're basically living off of us, and that's not right. I don't care where you started from. You shouldn't be living off of me. Whether you were born in Cleveland or Mexico, you shouldn't be living off of me, period.
Exactly.
Unless
Besides
you're
the fact that it's not true.
Yeah.
And that's why those people get labeled as racists.
Right.
Because whether you like it or not, you are making the assumption that every immigrant who comes here is coming here for the entitlements, coming here for you to support them. And whether you like it or not, they're talking about the Mexicans. Let's just be honest here. Nobody talks about immigration reform because of
England.
the Polish or the Finnish. That's not who they're talking about. They're talking about the Mexicans. Let's be honest. Let's address the reality here. And they are being racist because they're assuming that the Mexicans are all coming here to live off the entitlements. That's what they say, whether they want to admit it or not. And that's why it's a racist position. And that's why people like me shut them out. I do not give their argument any credence at all. It makes no sense. It is racist. You are operating off of stereotypes and hatred.
Yeah.
And that is not what I make my decisions on.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Well, first off, I actually don't think that everybody that believes in the immigration thing that is against, the border stuff is necessarily racist.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I think there's a certain percentage of the population that does fit that one. I think there's also another percentage of the population that actually doesn't understand, what the current system, how bad the current system is right now. That if they were actually to go through the system, they might not even make it, considering they don't know enough information to be able to do that.
No. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But something's got to get fixed here. I mean, they got to fix something with this damn thing. So, go ahead.
What do you feel? And I really want to know. I know a lot on the right will say, one of the things that they have to do is, everybody has to learn English. Now, how do you feel about that? Do you think that we should regulate someone to have to learn our language if they come here?
No.
Alex?
The answer in short is no, but there's some caveats to that, though. The caveats to that is that the official language of the United States is English, and all of our documents as it relates towards the government will be done in English.
We have no official language.
Okay, we'll go with we have no official language. All government documents should be in friggin' English.
The pervasive social language in the United States is English. There is no official language of the United States.
Okay. Well, the second thing we ought to do is we actually ought to change that to make it officially make the language English. But however, you're free to say whatever you want to say. You're free you're free to do what you want to do. But I don't want the government putting out documentation in anything other than English. There should only be one language that the government uses to communicate with the people.
That I agree with. I agree that there should be no official language of the United States. English, there should be no official language. It shouldn't be put on paper anywhere and said, you have to learn it. But we don't have to accommodate you either.
Right.
We do speak English in this country. That is our language. And government documents, there should be no accommodation to people who don't speak the language. You want to assimilate into our society? This is the pervasive language. This to get through our country. To your everyday operations, you're going to be dealing with people who speak English. You're going to need to learn it. So if you want to participate, you need it. That's why we don't need an official language. We don't need it on paper because we have it in practice. to get by in America, you're going to have to speak English, or you're going to stay in very small communities where English is not spoken. No. And I don't have a problem with those small communities that don't speak English. If that's how they want to live, that's fine.
Yeah. No. But and look, you got to remember this. I drive in Miami a lot.
Which
I
is
drive
large.
through Miami, and there are places that I go to in Miami where I am not speaking. I mean, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't know what the heck I'm even saying.
And when he tries, it really is bad.
Yeah, and when I try, it's horribly bad. But there are places where you are not going to get anywhere if you speak English unless you speak Spanish, unless you speak Spanish, you're not going to be able to speak down there very, very well. However, I don't want to stop them from doing that. They can do that if they want to. It's up to them. It's not up to me. As long as when it comes to the government agencies, those things are done in English. And the meetings are held in English. And if you want to have a Spanish translator, you can do that. If you want to have a German translator, you can do that.
But the individual should have that.
But the individual should be able to, the government's not sponsoring that crap for you. You know what I mean? When it comes to government documents, no habla español. Habla inglés.
And quite frankly, I would only say that at a federal level. Because if the people of Miami, if it is a mostly Spanish-speaking community, and they want the Miami City Council to put out documents in Spanish and their tax dollars are what's paying for it, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
I don't care with that about that.
You know what? I do. I actually do.
Why?
Well, that's where the difference goes, is I want English as the official language.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You want English as the official language, but to disagree with what I just said disagrees with everything else you've said for so long on this show about local communities governing themselves and making their own decisions for themselves.
As long as they're the ones paying for it.
Yeah, they're paying for it. They're making that decision. What's wrong with it? If the people of Miami pay for it and the people of Miami want it, that's what you touted for so long.
That makes a good point there. That makes a good point. I guess I would have to go with that, but I wouldn't be happy.
Miami's.
But then you wouldn't have to go.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I would officially and very, very passionately boycott Miami if they were not putting out their documents in English and they were only doing it in Spanish. I would be very upset with that.
I would have a problem with them not doing it.
I may not live there, but I have to do business with those places down there. And if I have to go to a government agency and they don't speak the language that I speak in a government agency, and in English, like you said, it's not written down that way, but it's the prevailing thing of the land, then at that point I actually think that's the problem. That's a problem. Now, that wouldn't happen in a government agency down in Miami right now. I mean, that's not happening down there now.
Well, we've been down there, and for the most part, and there are some places that we've never really pushed it to say, I don't speak Spanish. Do you have someone that speaks English? Most of the places that we've gone to, I think that, if we would have asked, probably someone would have come out that spoke at least a broken English where we could have gotten by. Some places, don't get me wrong, there's been some offices we've been in where that private business, nobody speaks English. But for the most part, when we're in public places, there's always someone.
And I'll never complain about a private business and what they choose to do.
Right.
Never.
If they want to go in there and speak Klingon, for all I care, they can go ahead and do it. That part does not bother me.
So here locally, not here, down in Pinellas County where I live, there are a lot of places
Allegedly.
that I go.
Well, until after today. Until
I get relocated.
Yes.
There are places that I go that there's this little Cuban deli, incredible food, the roast pork, awesome. I think I'm the only person they speak English to. I think when someone who speaks English comes in, they speak English. You do not hear English being spoken behind the line or in the dining room or anything, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. They have stuff on their menus in Spanish. Great, more power to you. I have no problem with that. You start making the government do that. You start making the people pay for that.
Then I have a problem.
And then when Greg comes in, they go, "Oh, hello, Mr. Bowen."
Did they become Chinese?
They were not Chinese. They're
Chinese Spanish. No, they're Chinese Spanish. I've been in there. They're Chinese Cuban. Spanish. Chinese Cuban. Cuban. That's Cuban man right there.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know how to say it, to be honest with you. But
That's so wrong.
Nothing wrong with you. No. Oh, Mr. Bowen, you want a Cuban sandwich?
It is funny how you went from Cuban to Chinese.
Well, I couldn't do one. I forgot how to do a Spanish accent.
I think the only accent you really like, your default is Chinese.
Yeah.
Or Asian. We don't really. I don't know if the dialect is actually Chinese or Japanese.
It's a Mandarin.
It's
a Mandarin mix between Mandarin and Korean. It's a little bit of a mix there. So just so you know where I got that from. I got it from a guy named Lou.
And actually, just kind of I want to make this point because I know some people are probably getting really upset right now. The United States government, federally, there is no official language of the United States. Many states have made an official language. Our state is one of them.
Right.
Article 2, Section 9 of the Florida Constitution provides that English is the official language of the state of Florida. So it would actually be illegal for Miami to not print their materials in English because they are part of the state of Florida and it is our official language in this state. Obviously, the people of the state of Florida have made that decision and are okay with it. I wouldn't, but I don't really think that's the constitutional amendment I need to attack right now. I think there's a lot more important issues to deal with.
We got a lot bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
You need to put it in American. That's what you need to do. You need to put everything in American.
Now, did you see the Rubio tweet this week that was like, the same people? What was it?
The same people that are cheering CVS for their decisions or for their banning or whatever are the same people that will cheer for legalizing marijuana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was stupid.
It was just the dumbest
It was beyond
thing.
stupid.
It was not even wrong.
And Twitter just had a bunch of stupidity by the right this week because not only did Rubio say that, which was dumb, but the Coca-Cola commercial that aired that had, I think it was America the Beautiful. I don't think it was the national anthem. I think it was the actual song America the Beautiful that was sung in, several different languages.
Oh, by the way, hold on. I can read it for you now, just so you know. Many of the same people applauding CVS for not selling tobacco are okay with making it easier to buy and smoke pot. And then he put hashtag makes no sense.
Yeah, Marco Rubio makes no sense.
Because your brain doesn't work, dude. You can't process this kind of information. That's why it doesn't make sense to you. It's not our fault. It's your fault.
But, have you seen the national, and you have all these people on the right tweeting back to Coca-Cola that's like, we speak American here, and the national anthem should always be an American.
I was actually more bothered by the rendition in opera of the
national anthem. I actually was too. I was like, I don't like that at all.
I wasn't offended by it or anything. I was just like, this doesn't translate real well into an opera performance.
No,
I think I like the traditional way better.
I do. I like it better the other way. Now, and talking about Marco Rubio actually endorsed this man named William Thomas to be a Miami area judge. Rubio's team had reviewed his record and, encouraged the White House to nominate him. Obama's team agreed, sent him to the nomination committee in the Senate. Then they found out that this man was openly gay. And Rubio has now asked him to not appoint him to the spot.
Wow.
So, and now what they're saying is, when Rubio was asked, his staff said, well, we found out that he has made some inappropriate criminal sentences. But apparently they didn't find those inappropriate criminal sentences before they found out that he was gay.
Just, God, you people suck. You really do. It's almost like you try to piss off everybody.
They try to be bigots and racists. Even though they say, no, we're not. It's almost like, then maybe you should think about your choices.
you would think that the Republicans would be nicer to the homosexuals because they're just a bunch of dicks, so you should be nice to the people who like dick.
It's a very good point, by the way. It's a very good point. It irks me all day long that, let me see how I can explain this the right way. I can't be associated with that for that reason. You guys freedom and live their lives as they see fit. That's the problem. I wish you could understand that. What annoys me about the Republican Party is that they will come out and talk about liberty and freedom and that the government is too big and doing all this different stuff, and then come out with, well, we can't let that guy in because he's gay. What does it matter?
Well, and here's the funnier thing is that Obama kind of sent him like a gimme, you can save some face here, because then President Obama and his staff actually said, okay, well, how about this Judge Darren Gales, who's on the same circuit has the same impeccable record, but is in the civil court, not the criminal. So there is no improper sentencing for criminal court. But he's also gay. Both of the men are black, but they would also be gay. And Rubio blocked that nomination as well.
I hate these guys.
I got to tell you, there's no way, shape, manner, or form that Rubio should have got the seat. Shouldn't have got the win. Shouldn't have been up there. The fact that he's up there is despicable. And when you Republicans are looking and wondering, why is Alex such a dick to us? Why does he act this way? Why does he call us as we're all going to hell and act so evil? Well, the thing is that I respond to evil with evil. I view you guys as freaking evil. Look, again, I don't go down the racist category or the homophobe category with you or the bigoted category or any of that other stuff. But you guys show every day why those people that are saying that about you ain't far off.
You gave them a reason.
You gave them every reason in the world to do it.
I'll go down those roads because those are the specific reasons why you're evil.
Right. All I have to say is that you can't blame anyone in this room because we voted for Alex Snicker.
I absolutely voted for Alex Snicker.
I think I even voted for him too.
I hope so.
I've heard later on he's a complete jerk, but
that's probably pretty true.
I wouldn't want to work in his Senate office or anything. But.
Oh, that would have been a fun office to work in. I'd still be filibustering stuff.
It'd be a roller coaster to work in.
They'd have got nothing done.
Been like bipolarism goes to Congress.
Yeah.
All right, we've run 2 minutes over. Do you want to keep going? Or
No. Let's stop the show. All right, guys. Hey, look, we've been a good show this week. Website is 1787network.com, 1787network.com. You can check out the show, past articles. We got the podcast area. Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. This is Liberty Underground.